How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born, they practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test, proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Join Google Play Points, the loyalty program that offers you exciting benefits. Now earn points on every purchase. Play more. Level up to gold and platinum. And unlock exclusive rewards.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
BGMI का यूनिवर्सल MVP वापस आएगा एक ब्लॉकबस्टर कमबैक के साथ। कुछ प्लेयर्स का जमाना होता है और कुछ के बनते हैं साम्राज्य। BGMS के मंच पे ओरंगुटान की पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त। Esports Ka Blockbuster.
It's the week 2 in the BGMS Season 4, and still we will see a lot of fluctuations in the overall standings. I'm going to be your host, Crore, John, alongside with me on the panel. It's Scary Achai Shanu, and once again, we're back in the day 1 of the week 2 in the league stage, where we know, of course, fluctuations will be there in the overall standings, but what really matters is what's going to be the top 3, because we all know, recently, OG, they have been dethroned from that first spot.
That was the main highlight, right? You can talk about every single thing, be it Revenant X Park performing phenomenal, be it Godlike as well having a pretty good day, but every single thing was stolen away by one man and his team with that 50 bomber half century of a score, and that was Hunters from Genesis Esports. Man, with the way how they performed in that last game, yeah, it was inevitable that they're going to propel themselves up, but OG dropping from first, not to just second or third, but directly to the fourth is a sign of concern.
This man's on a whole different league. Speaking of Hunter, right? Once again, he's pulling off those clutches. In the past, we saw him take down the entirety of K9 Esports. Now pulling off a 1-on-2 in the final few moments to secure that chicken dinner. And yeah, these clutches, it's not just about Hunters. We have been witnessing a lot of clutches in the past. We've also witnessed one of the clutch coming in from the side of Metal Esports, aimbot to secure that chicken dinner on the map of Sanhok. So even that happened. And let's not forget, yesterday's day is where OG was dethroned. So one thing is for sure, now OG is going to be looking back to get that revenge and probably get that first spot.
Highly possible, considering now we don't really have the impact player again for the next 4 days. So it's going to fall back onto the same territory with the rest of the team performing together as a whole. So I really want to see how that kind of paves the way as well, right? But I really want to still revisit the days that we had, or rather the games that we saw yesterday, because it started with a bang.
Of course it did. I mean, it was the day 7 and also the last day of the week 1 itself. And we, of course, as usual, had a lot of question marks in our mind. We all thought we might see OG's domination going on once again, but OG having back-to-back bad games was where the other teams found a breaching pathway towards that first spot in the overall standings.
There are some teams who've got a couple of games to spare as well, and they still are ahead of the 8. That was the big thing, but eventually things always started with a bang, and I believe we've been speaking like a broken record of how MyG Los Hermanos are always winning the drop clashes.
Somehow extremely good in their 4-on-4 fights, and yes, in one of the maps we also did see them pull off that 2-on-4 against the Blessed Soul, and this was the exact map that I'm speaking of. MyG Los Hermanos once again going hard and clashing on top of the Blessed Soul to claim that bounty, but that's not all that happened. Even Metal Esports unfortunately getting third-partied by the players of Revenant X Park, and the action kept on moving up as we did see NINZA lock horns in the final few moments against Likitha Esports, and in the end it was Likitha Esports proving their worth and showing why they deserve to be here in the Season 4.
Some shots were fired against them early on in the interview itself, and they answered them back perfectly, but it was not just them who was constantly answering back things. Godlike as well, they were having a fantastic map of Sanhok. It just seemed like they were unstoppable until and unless they met up with the forces that were named as Phoenix Esports.
In Sanhok, we did see some signs of life from the side of OG, but it did not end there. As we move on, we also did see 8-Bit trying their best to get something done, but Phoenix Esports, this was the best possible performance they've had so far in the BGMS Season 4.
All of the games combined now only getting one chicken dinner, but at least they had a big one coming in. But that was not the only game which ended things. Genesis, yet again, every single time. It seems like if we're talking about BGMS, we'll have to talk about how Genesis is going to perform with over a 45-point banger game.
As usual, hunting down the fan-favorite teams, also taking down 8-Bit in the process. Genesis Esports, they were like a cleanup crew, eliminating the final few men, which was Hunters, and securing that chicken dinner for the team. And let's have a look at the overall standings after yesterday's performance, as we have now moved inside of the Week 2, Day 1. This is what the overall standings look like. Revenant X Park currently at the top, dethroning the players of OG. You've got Genesis Esports on the second with 222 points, Hero Extreme Godlike with 207, and OG all the way on the 4th spot. That's a massive drop in the performance on 207 points.
Only having a 9-point lead against iQOO Soul as well, so that's a big thing coming in. We're seeing a lot of bonus points being gained by them, but they are nowhere close to what Genesis Esports have. 90 bonus points for themselves, and they've also got 2 games to spare, right? And this is where the main pack of teams are. Middle, Team Aryan, 8-Bit. These are the teams who've only played 18 games. They've still got a couple of more games remaining to play up and to catch up to the other teams. So I'm pretty sure they're going to move up in the top 8 as well.
Phoenix Esports, even after yesterday's comeback, they're still on the last spot in the overall standings. Reckoning Esports, a name, a force to be reckoned with, all the way on the second last spot. That is unacceptable from a banner like Reckoning Esports with 98 points. But still, a comeback is possible. It's just the Day 1 of the Week 2. An ample amount of chances will be given to them to try and prove themselves and make their worth come true.
I'm really hoping for them to try and pull themselves up as well. I was looking at Max, I was talking to him today, and yeah, he seemed pumped up. It seems like Reckoning will eventually pull themselves back, but I'd have to say, I noticed that NoNx also now, they're not in the bottom 2 spot. They eventually moved a couple of spaces up too. They had a pretty decent game over towards the end where they were able to grab a few elimination points, but here's where the things will get even more difficult for these teams now, because no impact player means no quadruple points that you were normally getting in the power play.
But there are still a lot of these teams that were not even going for the impact player process, that were not even trying to play around that power-up anyways. I'm speaking of God's Reign. But another team that was really relying heavily on the impact player process or the power-up, it was Revenant X Park. And if you look at Trey Scott and the man's stats, all by himself, he's managed to conjure 27 finishes and 43 bonus points. While the remaining 3 players, they've managed to get 23 finishes, which is honestly mind-blowing. Trey Scott all by himself has contributed so much to this team.
That's why he's just being, one of the big spearheads coming in. I've been constantly talking about how this dude has been performing so good. And it's not just in BGMS itself, right? All the way back when he was playing under the banner of Wild Fangs, right?
Yeah.
All the way starting of the year. We've been constantly seeing this dude always step up and perform, and now finally his team is also performing pretty good.
Of course, but it's not just about Trey Scott, it's also about Hunters. This man's been pulling off miraculous clutches over the decade, and once again inside of the BGMS Season 4-2, he's once again showing what he's capable of. Hunters pulling off those insane clutches. Even yesterday we saw a glimpse of that, securing the day for his team with that clutch. And let's not forget, he's probably also one of those men who've got a lot of elimination points compared to all the other 3 players that they've got.
I mean, it just falls out of the same thing. You talk about last 2 days, you remember the clutch of Hunters against K9, a 1v4, and then him giving some choice words, and then yesterday's statement first against TWOB, and then clutching it all out right away against the very same team. We saw the reaction coming in, but here's the big difference that's here, right? Yes, even though Hunters has got 23 finishes, the team is also in general performing very good. 26 finishes overall as well, 19 bonus points, but 52% finished contribution. That means, yes, as much as there's a bit of a pressure on him, if you're really comparing his performance and his team's performance to Trey Scott and Revenant X-Pac, that's where we see a bit of a vast potential from Genesis themselves, because they have been doing a good job.
Yeah, of course, the remaining 3 players have been doing much better, but still you cannot really take it away that the majority of that chunk, it's still being contributed by just one single man, which is Hunters. But once again, we've got an interview lined up on the stage. Let's move on over there and have a look at it.
कल का दिन was all about point proving. यहाँ जो भी players ने कहा, कुछ टीमों ने वो अपने ऊपर पर्सनली ले लिया, and then they came out making statement victories, making statements. तो आज हमारे साथ हैं स्लग एंड कियो. इनसे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात करनी है, तो पहले 2 सवाल मैं स्लग से ही पूछना चाहता हूँ. K9, यार नाम बड़ा अग्रेसिव है, लेकिन वो जो बदमाशी थी, that is missing. तो क्या ये कहना सही होगा that K9 aggressive name but the bite is missing?
हाँ, कह सकते हैं. अभी काफ़ी हम लो चल रहे हैं, बट ठीक है, हमने काफ़ी इससे पहले भी बहुत सारे मिरेकल पुल ऑफ किए हैं. कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. थोड़ा सा फ्लो आते ही, मोमेंटम बनते ही पूरा गेम पूरा चेंज कर देंगे हम लोग, बिकॉज वी नो हाउ टू टर्न द गेम. तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. ठीक है, अभी थोड़ा लो है, बट हो जाएगा.
बीजीएमएस स्टार्ट होने के पहले जब सारी टीम्स के बारे में हम लोग स्वॉट एनालिसिस करते थे, तो ये फॉर्मेट जो है वो तुम लोगों के लिए बना है, करेक्ट? दिस इज समथिंग दैट शुड फेवर यू. लेकिन ऐसा क्यों लग रहा है दैट तुम मौकों का पूरा एडवांटेज, पूरा फायदा नहीं उठा पा रहे हो?
हाँ, नहीं उठा पा रहे. काफ़ी हम लोग फाइट्स वगैरह ले रहे हैं, बट आई फील लाइक मैं पर्सनली बहुत ज़्यादा चोक कर रहा हूँ फाइट्स वगैरह में. काफ़ी लो फील कर रहा था मैं बहुत दिनों से, बट ठीक है, अब चेंज करने का टाइम आ चुका है कि बहुत लंबा फॉर्मेट है. ये सोच के हम लोग वैसा नहीं खेल रहे कि हाँ कोई नहीं, बट हम लोगों ने मीटिंग करी है एंड पता है हम लोगों को आपस में क्या गलती हुई है. एंड मैं पर्सनली भी काफ़ी ठीक है अब पहले से कि हाँ मैं आज रेडी हूँ. जो भी होगा हम लोग नेक्स्ट वीक पूरा हम लोग पॉइंट्स टेबल टर्न कर देंगे एंड होप फॉर द बेस्ट.
राइट मैन, बेस्ट ऑफ लक. आप अपनी टीम ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं. और अब आते हैं कियो की तरफ. देयर इज माई प्रॉप, क्योंकि आज मैं आपके आईजीएल को एज अ प्रॉप यूज करना चाहता हूं. ही इज जॉइनिंग अस. जली, आजा भाई, गुड टू हैव यू. जैसे वो कोर्ट में नहीं होता कि कटघरे में हम किसी को खड़ा करते हैं, तो जली यहाँ पे. कियो, कल आपने अपना दूसरा चिकन डिनर हासिल किया एंड सडनली दैट मोमेंटम इज बैक. तो क्या ये कहना सही होगा दैट योर आईजीएल जली इज नॉट द प्रॉब्लम एनी मोर?
माय लॉर्ड, मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि थोड़ा सा हमारा लेफ्ट राइट हो गया था. स्टार्टिंग तो हमारी अच्छी गई थी, बट बीच में हम लोगों ने थोड़ा सा, मतलब जेली भाई ने बोला था कुछ नया ट्राई करेंगे, और कुछ नया ट्राई करते करते हम काफ़ी नीचे चले गए. बट कोई बात नहीं, वो तो बहुत मैचेस हैं, फॉर्मेट इतना अच्छा है कि बहुत सारे मैचेस दिए थे, तो अभी वापस स्कोप कर रहे हैं धीमे धीमे, और एक क्वालिफिकेशन हमारे लिए कोई इशू नहीं है, हम कर लेंगे, वो मुझे पता है.
लेकिन मगर परंतु जो 24 टीमें हैं उनमें गुड थिंग इज कि आप इकलौती उन 8 टीमों में से हैं हु हैव टेकन 2 और मोर चिकन डिनर्स. लेकिन आप फिर भी रैंकिंग्स के तीसरे पन्ने पे हैं. यूर ऑन 17th पोजीशन, क्योंकि सिर्फ 7 बोनस पॉइंट्स हैं. आप लोगों ने डबल डिजिट्स भी क्रॉस नहीं किए हैं. तो क्या ये कहना सही होगा दैट जली योर आईजीएल इज द प्रॉब्लम?
माय लॉर्ड, मेरा जो क्लाइंट है मेरे क्लाइंट की कोई गलती नहीं है इसमें. एक्चुअली में हमारा ये मानना, हमारे कोच का भी और जली भाई का भी, मतलब हम ऐसा नहीं कि हम थोड़ा लैग कर रहे हैं इस चीज़ में, मैं मानता हूँ, बट इवेंचुअली जो ये फॉर्मेट है ये एक इवेंट के लिए है, और अगर इसकी एक आदत डाल देंगे तो फिर वो आगे वाले इवेंट्स में नहीं आएगा, या फिर बिल्कुल ही उसको एक्सप्लॉइट करेंगे. तो हम नॉर्मल गेम खेलने का ट्राई करते हैं कि बोनस पॉइंट लें, बट फेल हो जाते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि उसमें ऐसा नहीं करा कि उसमें जली भाई की गलती है, वो तो ट्राई कराते हैं कि हम ले, मे बी हम ऐसा असॉल्टर भी कुछ गलतियां करते हैं, उससे गेम कॉस्ट हो जाते हैं, बट इवेंचुअली हम अभी बहुत मैचेस बचे हैं, 38 मैचेस बचे हैं आई थिंक सो, तो हम मे बी आगे और बोनस पॉइंट्स लें, क्या पता हमारे बोनस पॉइंट्स अब सारी टीम से सबसे ज्यादा हो, कुछ भी हो सकता है।
सारी दलीलें सुनने के बाद ये तो हम लोग डिसाइड कर चुके हैं दैट यू वेरी वेरी स्पोर्टिंग। जेली, लव यू ब्रदर, यू नो दैट भाई का कुछ करना नहीं था, यहाँ पे से खड़ा होकर बिल्कुल प्रॉप बनना था। नजरें रहेंगी इन पे। मैच 1 इज कमिंग अप, रिमेंबर ऑल मैचेस ऑन द OnePlus 13, डोंट गो एनीवेयर, वी कमिंग राइट बैक।
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class, for today's lesson...
I already taught her something.
Unlock the Dravian X suit starting at 10 UC on BGMI. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Unlock the Dravian X suit starting at 10 UC on BGMI. Limited time offer on Google Play.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Welcome back after that short break, and once again, just a few moments away before heading inside of the first game of the day. Scared, you know the ritual, you know what I'm gonna ask you, just tell me your prediction.
Considering there's quite a lot of big names playing today as well, and with the performance we saw from a lot of these teams, including Genesis Esports, Godlike as well, including Phoenix, it's kind of very difficult, man. Likitha Esports are out there as well. I really want to put my hopes up back in my Los Hermanos, because they have got a pretty solid early start. We've been talking about how Kalan has also been performing pretty good when it comes down to them. Likitha Esports also had one of their big games yesterday itself, and to be honest, 8-bit also seemed to finally find their footing when Hermanos performed. So, you know what, I'm actually going to go with 8-bit today. What about you?
That's a really good question that you asked me, because I was not really thinking of answering that, to be honest, because usually you do not ask me. But you know what? A while ago, we did see the schedule pop up on the screen. Group A and C will be the one to duke it out in the first game itself. And speaking of Los Hermanos, right? Yeah, Los Hermanos extremely good when it comes to taking the firefights. But overall, if you really ask me if they're good enough to go for the endgame moments, Los Hermanos, maybe not so much. Yeah, they're getting a lot of those point flow, but it's all because of the firefights they're taking early game. And if Los Hermanos sort of miss out on that, then we all know problems will start to happen. But once again, to let you guys know, watch the BGMS 2025 broadcast with the multicams, or if you want to watch a specific POV of the teams in the top 4, you can head on towards Geo Hotstar and have a look at it.
And this time you have Maiji lost Hermanos there as well. So all the problems that they eventually cause for themselves later on, you can view them specifically from their own POV, including Godlike, Medal, and if I'm not wrong, even Global Esports. So you can watch all of their games, and who knows, maybe they can eventually pull out a big chicken dinner for themselves, just like how Phoenix were able to do that yesterday on the map of Sanhok. This time, playing on Erangel and Miramar. You know what, I'm actually going to place my hopes and trust in Ash as well, that maybe he can bring his team back into the same momentum which they found themselves yesterday.
Exactly, the plane's going to be in the skies once again, starting all the way from Hospital this time, towards the opposite side, which will be Stolper. And if the teams do want to move all the way down south, well, it's going to be a little bit problematic, because it does seem like it's a bit too far away from the plane flight path. Yes, it's possible to go down there, but it's going to take a lot of time in the initial phase, which means you might just miss out on the power play.
The only good thing is that God's Reign are not really playing out here right now, so should not be a problem for them coming in. If you're also talking about teams like True Rippers, yes, they normally like to drop around Nova of Noah, which is absolutely the furthest end.
Hey, I forgot. You asked me my prediction. I'm going to go with Phoenix Esports. I believe that it's their time to rise back up from the ashes. It's their time to have a rebirth, and they will start to dominate the lobby. Yesterday, we already saw a glimmer of hope, and today, I think they will be like a burning torch.
I am not even going to question that, because I feel the exact same thing. Maybe they have found their momentum. Maybe they can bring themselves back up. And also, Kopi is not really playing right now, so we know there's a lot of competition and big names that are not really participating in it. But one of those big names being Genesis, who dropped a 50-point banger yesterday, and would also want to start the day one of week 2 in a pretty similar fashion, dropping all the way around the Western Fray. They're trying to do their own things. My question is, where would True Rippers land? As we've seen them always loving the area of Nova Pnoi, Reckoning as well. We've seen them sometimes drop around that same area. They've all picked up the area around the Everest. And what is this nasty circle?
We've seen it a couple of times at this point. It feels like quite the standard run, at least for me, because it's probably going to be ending around that shooting range or the open area around it. So there's a big chance we might see the zone head towards that vicinity. But yeah, back towards the conversation that I was having, right? Maiji lost Hermanos, you wanted to pick them. Yeah, they're extremely good in their 4v4 fights, but especially when it comes to closing the game out with a chicken dinner, that's where Maiji lost Hermanos sort of lacks, because they get eliminated before they even move on to the final few moments.
That's the big problem that they've constantly encountered. It's like they always pick up the good fights early on. They always win those good fights early on as well. But it comes down to that closing segments where they don't really find themselves in the perfect place of that rotational path. Or sometimes they themselves get third-partied. I still remember on the game of Miramar where they decided to pick up a proper fight. They eventually were taken down. Right now, Shadow really should not try and fire the shots, spotted out, taken down instantly. Likitha Esports starting things off with a bang, couple of points already going in their favor.
A bad start to Maiji lost Hermanos. What was the man doing in such an awkward spot? Getting caught off guard like that, eliminated from the game too. That's a rough start. Lost Hermanos down with 3-man squad. This can be one of those bad games for them. But yeah, if you really take the power play away, if you really take the impact player system away, which is already not there in the game anymore, I feel like Maiji lost Hermanos will start a struggle.
Could be possible as well. They've always loved to take those early fights right now, but another team that's on the verge of that struggling end, 4TR right now, Iron of God, trying to survive against the couple of members of Mad Kings. And here's the thing, man. For some reason, Mad Kings, they've been looking a bit shaky in their fights, but at least this is a very good call coming in. Both the players moving together in unison. That eventually grabs them a couple of points as well, because the power play is still active. The circle is not going to start making a move until 20 more seconds, and then you've got the time till the blue hits that curve.
It felt like for the past 2 days, Mad Kings, they were deactivated. And now finally we're seeing Mad Kings start things off in a bit of that fiery note, get that 1 elimination point secured. And since it's inside of the power play, it's going to be 2. So a decent start of Mad Kings.
Yep.
2 points accumulated. Now it's time to go back all the way towards the containers, get your loot up, and then think of what the future terrain's going to look like for you.
Big cluster forming around the Everest and its paths.
Yeah, just 2 teams though, if you really think about it.
Yeah, but there's quite a lot of teams who can eventually throw in a third party if they really want to. And they will cluster up around the same 2 bridges, which are in the crosshairs of players playing on either one of them.
Let's see, though. I mean, Reckoning Esports, yeah, they've had a bit of a struggling era that's going on.
Yes.
And Reckoning Esports, if they do want to break through that, maybe taking advantage of the power play is probably going to be the best possible thing you can do. But it's funny, right? When Impact Player wasn't introduced, Reckoning Esports was doing decent. But the moment Impact Player was introduced, somehow Reckoning Esports' performance dipped down. And that's not what you expect. But hold on to that thought. Phoenix Esports losing out on Ash off the rip. The man was isolated, and instantly FS Esports pounced on top of the opportunity, grabbed that elimination point, and now FS Esports is looking a bit more confident. Phoenix Esports, are they really going to try and retaliate? There's still one man knocked out. The revival is being stuck. The remaining 3 players of Phoenix Esports, what is the game plan going to be? They do start to stack up around that fray in the hopes of finding one straggler, but it's going to be tough. FS Esports, they're keeping their defense tight.
Bit of struggle coming in from Phoenix again. I really thought that they've probably got an idea that there would be somewhere around Zarki, so they all might want to play together, at least in a place where they can eventually give each other the rival, but that's not really happening.
Yeah.
Mad Kings as well. Bit in the crosshair of Dionysus, but a bit too far away for any kind of confirmation too.
Unfortunate stuff. Reckoning Esports just dishing out damage, that's it. It's not going to mean anything. The main problem for Reckoning Esports is the ammunition they've got, and this is what the plan is for Reckoning Esports. They're lacking on loot, but they're going to eliminate the opponents to get their loot up, which is not bad thinking. But if you're the one to get eliminated, now that's a major problem. Shadow has already got the line of sight. With that DPP, the man's also got a lot of intel against the foes. And Reckoning Esports might just be in hot waters. There's one man right in front, and Viper, he still finds that important knock. But from the back, that cover fire is going to save the day for Reckoning Esports. As Viper, this man is barely surviving on a sliver of HP. And it's now a third party from Genesis Esports from the far fray that are consistently taking shots against Reckoning. And Viper, this man is getting chipped up extremely low. Genesis Esports chewing on the players of Reckoning Esports as Mad Kings, they fall back because they know Reckoning Esports is already getting ripped apart. And Genesis Esports, they welcome him with open arms.
Big play coming in. And this is the exact cluster I was talking about. Ending up in each other's crosshair. Reckoning did not realize what Genesis were trying to pull. Entirely open from the fray of that warehouse, and that's where they all shoot them down. Viper as well. Down on his feet. Not quite sure if he's going to survive or not. Absolutely not. No one's going to give him any kind of revival. Oh, hold on. Apollo. Alright, he's going to welcome that one. Finish for himself. Mad Kings. They're going to be pretty happy considering they got 3 finishes out of that and did not lose a single member. And Genesis, they're now going to move on the other side, but True Rippers are the ones who are being ripped apart right now by 3 members of My G Los Hermanos.
My G Los Hermanos, this 3-man squad can still be a deadly force. They did lose out on one of their men who was isolated by the hands of Likitha Esports. But now My G Los Hermanos, they're here to make a bounce back. Evil's already got his hands on 2 elimination points, and since it's in the power play, that's 4 points right there. Decent start once again. 4TR surrounding the players of My G Los Hermanos. But do they really have the man advantage? That's the main question. FS Esports hunting down the players of Phoenix Esports. They're on the run. Phoenix Esports does not really want to go for this fight anymore because they know they do not have the man advantage in the fight. They've already lost out on 2 players against FS, and now the remaining 2 men of Phoenix Esports just want to run away.
I was trying to see as well as to what was going on. I thought maybe this might actually end up being a Severny circle with the way how it's moving right now. So the one who takes control of that part is going to be the one to control most of that circle right now, as Goten still on his attempt to make the way there. He's eventually caught out there with his hands open, arms up there.
My God.
Lovely shot coming in. He just not converts one, but rather 2.
I told you this man, he's insane in up close and personal combats. If you give him the isolated 1v1s, Goten will make sure that you're punished. And Phoenix Esports, they somehow dismantle FS Esports. 3 men down, and Phoenix giving them a reality check that you can never be overconfident against them. Archit and Godin punishing together. But Godin went nuclear in that fight, shutting down those two crucial men of FS, giving the win back in the sails of Phoenix Esports. And now the last man, Roman, the IGL. A lot of burden on the man's shoulder. And as we're speaking of, even Reckoning Esports gets eliminated in the sidelines by Genesis. Fights happening left, right, center. FS Esports, they had the man advantage, but just because of this one moment, everything got stolen away from their hands. And it's all thanks to Godin.
Getting both the members down. It was impeccable. Missing out on a couple of shots, but then connecting two of the most crucial ones. And then Archit as well. Standing up. Solid play. I just absolutely love this play. Roman eventually threw a smoke towards his car to try and create the confusion that he was probably still sitting there. And that's exactly what he's doing even now. Just to keep that confusion up. Because Goten and Archit, they don't really know. They did not have any kind of vision over towards this ridgeline.
Yeah.
So Roman wanted to reposition, but this one play from Goten could be big because he probably saw where that smoke got thrown from.
Goten's moving out in the open. This man's confident.
Could be problematic.
Roman, though, he still does not really have any sort of line of sight on Goten in the back lines. And keep this thing in mind, if you give an isolated 1v1 to Goten, it will be his win. Do not let that man get real up close and personal. That's all you need to do, Roman. The Blues now chipping out a lot of damage. Archit spamming the smokes in the hopes of finding something.
Yeah.
Roman, he's successfully deceived both the players. And now he's going to finally reveal himself. Godin right in front. And it's quite rare to see Godin lose his 1v1s. Nade being cooked. Tossed right behind that rock. It does chip out a bit of that damage, but it's still not enough. Roman chipped down pretty low as well. From the back, it's also Archit moving in. And from the back, it's also Godin. Phoenix Esports is all over the place, eliminating Roman, the last man of FS Esports. Another 2v4 executed.
And you can see the disappointment as well onto Roman's face. That is an absolute disaster, but what a play from Phoenix. Right before this entire game began, right before today's broadcast began, we were having this exact same discussion of the underrated players, and Necro, you picked Goten.
I'm telling you, man, in the officials, this man, he's got his own moments.
Oh my goodness.
But unfortunately, now they collide against Genesis Esports, who've got all the four men standing, and Phoenix now just can't do anything. But luckily enough, Archit is still alive. So that's a good thing. That's a positive side. Archit can keep his position anonymous and hope that Genesis Esports really does not affect him. But at the same time, Genesis Esports, they've got a problem of their own. Getting shot at all the way from the back. Genesis Esports now will try to reroute and pave a good pathway.
My question is, how do they always end up finding Godlike? These two teams, today in this map, dropped on two opposite ends. Godlike went towards Stolber. Genesis dropped towards Quarry. How is this fight still happening?
Good question. And the answer probably Genesis Esports knows.
It's like two different poles of the magnet who will always attract no matter what.
But if you really think about it, Genesis Esports a while ago, they were towards Georgiapol, and now they've rotated all the way up north. I think it was just a casual rotation that Genesis Esports wanted to pull off. They found, unfortunately, one of the strangled man of Phoenix Esports. He was out in the open. And then they eliminated that player. They kept on moving up north. They found Hero Extreme Godlike in the way.
Every time, every single day. It's like Destiny making its own moves, man. Hopefully that ever happened with me. But
what? You want to encounter Godlike? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sitting here explaining what I just wanted to say, but Genesis, close by to the members of True Rippers.
Oh, Genesis.
Really?
True Ripper's still in the front, shots are taken, but the spray's too unstable. This man's in the passenger seat. What is Hunters doing? Out in the open, casually strolling by, taking those shots against the foes.
Confidence.
And you love to see it. Genesis Esports, they're doing enough to prove this confidence as well. So it's completely fine. It's not like they're overconfident. No, they're actually winning those fights. And that's why this confidence is shining through. But for now, Genesis Esports in a bit of a trouble. As one of the men gets picked off, and this time maybe by the hands of Hero Extreme Godlike.
Yeah.
Even Hydro gets taken down by Team Aryan's Henry. Unfortunate start to the game of True Rippers. As now Jelly's only man standing. And he's also getting shot at all the way from the hilltop. But for TR, now they got to deal with the players of Team Aryan too. And from the sidelines, Genesis Esports closes up, and that's going to be one free piece of candy claimed.
4 finish already popping up in the hands of Genesis. They lost one player, yes. Now they know the position of Godlike. So they instantly claim a very nice spot up in the circle so that they can try and gatekeep Godlike after the next circle pops in. So they're not really playing in for just the fights, but they're playing the smart game. They're playing the long game. We had the interview of Slug as well a while ago. And this man said that he's finally feeling himself. Eventually finding a knock as well against the members of Middle. That's going to be big right now. But Genesis down to a 2v4 now as Punk moves up close and personal. He wants to try and take them down. But they're not the only team that is around this area. Even Victor's Sumus are close by. So if this fight breaks through, Victor's will come in for the third party.
Oh, there we go. Genesis Esports now getting pounced on. And this time it's Hero Extreme Godlike, ripping them apart slowly and steadily. Already Genesis Esports have lost too many men in this battle. And now even the last man is getting hunted, bound by Hero Extreme Godlike. But that final man of Genesis Esports is Hunters. And if you try to hunt the Hunter, you might just be hunted yourself. So you need to watch out.
He's going to fall this time.
He's pulled off multiple clutches. This time might not be the day where Hunter's gun will work.
He's just in the middle of everywhere. Surrounded by every single team, every single player. So, not quite sure for how long will he stand again. Likitha Esports with just a couple of members remaining. Have to try and survive out there. Archit as well. Finding Admino out in the open. Admino wins out that duel. Phoenix eliminated side by side. Shots being fired out by 4TR as they've got a couple of members remaining. Also got the high ground for their own favor. Every single team is spread out so evenly now, and all the things have changed so much considering the impact player is now no longer valid until the next Friday.
Genesis Esports, unfortunately for Hero Extreme Godlike, they were not able to claim that bounty. Which blows. So no one was actually able to claim Genesis Esports' bounty. But Hero Extreme Godlike's bounty is still up for grabs. Anyone can go for it. 8-Bit in the front. All the 4 players next to each other. Yesterday we did see a bit of that momentum shift for 8-Bit. We might see them pull a massive comeback.
True.
But if you look at the top 8, the teams in the top 8 extremely close to that 200 points marker, and 8-Bit is still pretty far away. So 8-Bit now needs to catapult. They need a major game. And this game has to be it. If they start things off on a great note in the first game itself, if they get around 25 points, that's going to be a major catapult right there.
True.
But 8-Bit still needs to deal with the players of Team Aryan constantly throwing those nades and utilities on top of them.
Team Aryan have been looking a bit shaky out there, but their defense is something that we normally talk about as pretty solid. While when we talk about 8-Bit, considering that it's Raiden who's now going for the IGLing duties, they've been acting pretty aggressive and even Aquanox feeling himself, and this is one of the big reasons we talk about the dude. He lands in a nasty nade right up in front.
Henry. There's 8-Bit right in front. Spots the players. Take an exit from that spot. But what a spray that was. Disgusting stuff, Henry. Finds an knock all the way in the far frame, but Cyrex's wall gets taken down himself. Now Team Aryan in a big wall of trouble. Do not have enough men to defend this ground. And 8-Bit, they know exactly that, and that's why they're replying back in style. Aryan falls down with a shotgun pump to the chest. Henry all the way in the back, taken down extremely low, and even the Blues on the move. Henry needs to patch himself up. He's got the high ground to play with. If he really takes a proper advantage of that high ground, this can be Henry's fight to be converted. But look who's around the fray. Even Victorious Sumus is now closing up. 8-Bit, there's a third party on the horizon. Even if you eliminate that one last man of Team Aryan, it's not going to be done yet. You still need to fight against Victorious Sumus. Henry pops out in the open behind this container. And now looks to take a duel against S-Power, but this nade from Equinox will seal the deal. And that's going to be Team Aryan put in dirt.
3 finishes coming in from Aqua. That's a big play coming in on the other side, though. It's Medal who's answering back K9. Beautiful play from now, and they're going to be eliminating the boys of K9 instantly. You talk about a slam, you talk about a fight chosen and won. Medal are performing.
For some reason, it feels like K9 Esports have lost their firepower. What's going on with them? This is not the K9 Esports we all know. Ninja Boy, Slug Beast. You guys need to wake up. Getting eliminated just like that in such a bad way. It really raises a lot of concerns and questions. Before now, Hero Extreme Godlike, they continue their domination. Jonathan finds that important knock, paints down, and Hero Extreme Godlike did not even wait a second. Instantly make that pounce, as 4TR will be done with.
Simp also getting at least 1 finish out of that. He's going to be brought back up on his feet, and they all need to take care of Likitha Esports. That's up north of them. That's where Jonathan is standing right now, Global Esports. They're going to be locking horns against the members of Victorious Service as well. I mentioned about the couple of players Jonathan needs to take care of on nade, and he does the job. Catches both of them again. That's a fantastic play. And the entire northern hemisphere is now in the hands of Godlike. So there's one fight between Victorious Service, Global Esports, and 8-Bit. It's going to be crucial. Godlike will try to go in for the third party. Mafia moves up close and personal. Equinox will finally be taken down with a trade coming in from S-Power. That's big. Still needs to hold down his angle. It's a 1v1 against Owaze. But S-Power will eventually fall. Owaze wins it out. But he can only save the life of Thunder.
Hero Extreme Godlike. Yeah, that's it for Victorious Sumus. That's it. They're done for in this game too. The Global Esports still rising and shining. You've also got Hero Extreme Godlike on this side as Simp is knocked out. They need to get the revival on that fallen player. Again? Soon Simp will be back up on his feet too. It's completely fine. Simp is okay, at least as of now. We've got the final 4 teams standing, and even Metal Esports is a part of it as Maichi lost Hermanos. Even they face a brutal elimination from this game by the hands of Metal Esports. But luckily enough, Metal Esports, they've only got 3 men standing. Global Esports and Hero Extreme Godlike, they've got the man advantage inside of this final fight. And keep this thing in mind. If Metal Esports gets eliminated in the midst of all this action, it will be a proper 4v4 fight between Global Esports and Hero Extreme Godlike. And Global Esports will not just claim 10 points from the chicken dinner, they will also claim the 10 points from the bounty.
Considering no player falls from the play zone. We're already at stage 6 now. This is very unconventional for these teams, right? Normally we see still 2 to 3, maybe 4 teams standing up until stage 7. And then we see in stage 8 where we've got 2 or 3 teams. This time the fights again
quite quick.
Happening so quickly, exactly. It's probably with the way how the circle formed and...
No, it's just because of the format, straight up.
Probably.
Yep.
No more impact player out here right now.
Teams have realized that they need to play a little bit more aggressive if they want to take the advantage of the point system and the power-ups provided to them, and that's why we're seeing that aggression oozing out from these banners.
Yeah.
A lot of fights being taken, and because of those fights, we're also seeing the third parties, which means more chaos. And that's why we're seeing so many eliminations happen.
Whichever 2 teams fight right now, the other team will decide to go for the third party. For which they've been practicing throughout this tournament for the first 7 days at least. Troy has been playing isolated from his team. It's a 1-3 split coming in for Global Esports, and he can be taken down quickly if Medal do realize that. That's why we are seeing Manya as well running around the same and now changing it to a 2-2 split. But that means Spray God and Veron would be picked off if Godlike decided to make a pounce there. Scout and Punk, both of them going out and doing that scouting for the team.
Yeah.
But Punk, you've got to be careful. Aimbot is not the man you'd really want to go close up against.
Enemy scouting for players himself. And that's Venom right there in the back. Metal Esports spotted. Locked in the sights of Hero Extreme Godlike. Scout needs to be a little bit careful. The man's moving too quick and too exposed. Aimbot spotted. A little skull. It's not enough to get the knock, though. Hero Extreme Godlike still in troubled waters. There's also Global Esports on the sidelines, so you never know what the playstyle's going to look like. And since it's just the stage 6 of the game too, there's still a lot more time to go. The grounds are quite exposed as well, so there's not a lot of playing area in the first place. So teams need to count all the cover they've got, make something out of nothing. This is one of those scenarios. And Global Esports, they know it's just the stage 6. Middle Esports, pretty much the same thing as well. That's why none of these teams are actually pushing up and taking the advantage or taking the torch in their hands and leading.
They're just trying to understand as to how many players there are onto which part of the map. They're taking the map control away from the other side. Everyone has an idea that it's a 4v4v3. Considering you can see the number of teams remaining as well as the number of players, and you already know how many players you've got in your team. That makes it a pretty simple math. But the only thing is, apart from medal, neither Godlike nor Global Esports would eventually know as to which team actually has got the 3 players and which team have got 4 players. And that's also one of the reasons why we're not really seeing Godlike or Global Esports trying to push their advantage against medal, because they don't really have an idea that they are 3 men down.
Pretty much. Calm, composed, and silent. That's what it is right now. Everyone just planning how they want to attack. Waiting for the zone to collapse, but still the zone's quite massive.
Yep.
Global Esports might just get overeager. They might just run thin on patience and maybe make the pounce on medal. There is a possibility. And the only reason all of these teams are quite scared to go for that fight, it's because they know the moment they see an elimination, there will be a third party.
That's a big knock coming in. Venom for now, they're going to try and make the pounce on the members of Godlike as Admino was left alone. And he's got absolutely no support. Punk decided that they've got to give up on the life of Admino. They can't go for the revival. They cannot risk the chicken dinner for just one man and one life. And that's map space gained. That's map stolen away. But I'm looking at the position of Troy as well, because Troy can make things horrible for Scout. And I don't think so Scout has an idea.
Godlike still could have fought back, in my opinion. If they would have sent 2 players near Admino, toss out a few smokes, that would have been a proper cover to play from. Yeah, Admino now getting claimed, eliminated from this game. That's a whole different story. Metal Esports with a chance to grab the bounty as well. If they manage to eliminate the remaining 3 players of Hero Extreme Godlike, that's bounty right there. Additional 10 points. Even if they miss out on that chicken dinner later on, it's completely fine. But Global Esports, they kick things off against Metal. That's 2 players down already. And now Scout is the only man standing on a highly doubt Scout can do anything in this given circumstance. The man's taken a lot of hurt from the surrounding grounds, and Scout will be eliminated in the end. He just stood AFK there.
I think so. Eventually, he got stuck between that buggy tire and probably the player who was right under his feet. But yeah, that's not really the result you would have wanted to see right now as Jonathan tries to make his pounce as well. They get one knock, Spray God down on his feet. That's a big man coming in. But still, the answer back is pretty solid from the other side as Troy, who had the off angle, catches Sim. It's a 3v1 and they can take this game. They will take the game, or maybe not. Maybe there's an answer on the other side. Punk, the IGL, he's standing strong. The Nate Parade comes in, a 1v2 between Punk, Manya and Veron.
We have been talking about how Global Esports' defense, it's uncrackable, it's impenetrable, but this time even the offense is as good. Veron spots out the last man of Hero Extreme Godlike, and that will be the nail in the coffin. As Global Esports, they claim the first game of the day, and what a way to kickstart the week 2. The first game itself of week 2, it's Global Esports naming it on themselves, and with this chicken dinner, Global Esports, they will probably catapult themselves in quite a good spot in the overall standings.
Pretty solid one indeed. They needed this one as well. Probably hopping back into that top 4. Manya still discussing things with Troy, and I have to say, dude, Troy with that off angle was the big playmaker. He was the man who kicked things off against Godlike and eventually found that play.
Global Esports, There's no doubt this is one of the greatest teams out there. If you look at the players too, Spray God, this man's got a massive past. If you look at Troy as well, he's one of the greatest players out there too. Manya, of course, this IGL's got a lot of achievements. It's a good mixture of everything. And then in the end, a global esports is formed. But if you look at the final blows as well, it's mind-blowing. Before now, let's move on to the stage for the interview.
इस हाई प्रोफाइल टूर्नामेंट के जो सबसे पहले चैंपियंस थे वही इस मैच में चिकन डिनर भी लेके जा रहे हैं ग्लोबल ई-स्पोर्ट्स। मान्य कांग्रेचुलेशंस, एंड में मेडल और गॉड लाइक दो टीम्स बची हुई थी आपके साथ। गॉड लाइक के साथ फाइनल बैटल, वो एक नेट के साथ सिम्प और जॉन को आपने एलिमिनेट किया। हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट वाज दैट बैटल, क्योंकि वो टीम गॉड लाइक कुछ ज्यादा ही एग्रेसिव खेलती है अगर वो फाइनल बैटल में पहुंच जाए।
हम भी एग्रेसिव खेलते हैं, आपको पता है, तो हमने भी मार दिया।
सो समटाइम्स जो दो टीम ऐसी होती हैं, क्या आपने इस बार थोड़ा सा सूझबूझ के साथ खेला, यू वर वेटिंग फॉर मिस्टेक्स फ्रॉम देम, या आपको लगा कि नहीं लेट्स जस्ट गिव देम द सेम मेडिसिन?
हाँ, दो टीम जब बची थी तो हम वेट कर रहे थे कि दो टीम कुछ गलती फलती करे। हमें पता है हम 4 मैन स्ट्रांग है और मेरे को लग रहा था कि दोनों टीम कैजुअलिटी है, तो हम वेट कर रहे थे। फिर मेडल का एक ओपनिंग निकला, हमने उनको क्लियर किया, फिर गॉडल आगे आके गलती कर दी हम पे चढ़ के।
8 टीमें थी इस टूर्नामेंट में, 24 में से जिनके कम से कम 2 चिकन डिनर थे, और आप उन चुनिंदा टीमों में से हैं जिनके 3 चिकन डिनर हो चुके हैं। मान्य क्या अभी भी कोई ऐसी चीज है जिसपे काम करना बाकी है ग्लोबल को?
बहुत चीज़ों पे काम करना, अपन डेली सीख रहे हैं। अपन बहुत चीज़ है यार, अपन जैसे लास्ट 2-3 दिन अपन अच्छा नहीं गया था, अपन ने उधर भी बहुत चिकन थ्रो किया है, तो आज अपन ने उन सारी चीज़ों को अवॉइड करके खेला है, तो चिकन आया, होपफुली और भी आगे आएंगे।
Congratulations brother, congratulations, brilliant win for global esports। दिन के पहले ही मैच में, लेकिन अभी बाकी टीमों के लिए 3 मौके और आने हैं। We'll be back after the break।
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born, they practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test, proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Join Google Play Points, the loyalty program that offers you exciting benefits. Now earn points on every purchase. Play more. Level up to gold and platinum. And unlock exclusive rewards.
After watching such a phenomenal game, one thing is for sure, now the overall standings once again will be a bit confused because now it's also Global Esports making their entrance in the Power Pack spots. But once again, if you guys want to take care of your data and apps, you guys should move on and check out the Google Play Protect. But back towards the conversation that we're having, right? Global Esports now will also be in the Power Pack teams out there and maybe in the top 8 as well. So now what do you think? Who's going to be kicked outside of the top 8, or what changes you might see in the top 8 specifically?
Here's the thing, right? We've seen a couple of games now coming in from MyG, Los Hermanos, where they do win one fight, and after that they kind of fizzle out. So I'm not quite sure if that solid, or rather that kind of performance is enough to keep them in the top 8 itself. They need something like this. They need some big performances like Veron.
Exactly. Global Esports' Veron getting 6 finishes and 60% of finish contribution, and he's also the MVP of that team, which is of course solid start from Global Esports. And as I mentioned, if you've already kick-started this week off on a great note and this day off on a great note, now they've also got the momentum. In the upcoming games, just make sure that they're getting decent amount of points, not really dropping the ball, keeping that consistency up. You've also got Colin right there from Los Hermanos being the best companion. This time around, we're not really seeing Los Hermanos breaking the opponents. Instead, they were broken themselves, and they were constantly giving those revivals.
It was a bit of a problem coming in from their side as well. It seems like, yeah, they were eventually caught off in the rotation as well. A bit of surprise coming in right away from FS, or rather Likitha Esports. It was the one to take their first member down. So, handicap from the first minute onwards, it's kind of difficult to try and pull yourself back together from there. But a pretty solid performance from Godlike again, coming in at the second place itself. And I think so, Simp now being brought back in instead of Gods, it's another chance for Sim to try and prove himself that he is still a man for the big stage.
Of course, I mean, look, nothing taken away from that performance of Hero Extreme Godlike. That was still quite a solid performance, right? In the top 2. Since Hero Extreme Godlike is already in the top 4, they're already doing pretty good to themselves. Ending this game on the top 2, it's quite a decent start in my opinion. But this is how the action really kicked off. Golden taking down 3 players of FS Esports all by himself, and his teammate Archit shutting down the final man. FS Esports, one thing is for sure, they got a massive reality check in that fight. Getting taken down by a team on the last place in the overall standings, that's not a good feeling.
That absolutely is going to hurt them. We could clearly see the reaction from Roman himself. The IGL out here now. He's going to be kicking his desk. But overall, pretty solid performance coming in from both Global Esports. Medal as well now. We are seeing a lot of consistency from that team. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to keep on this track. And if they do, they will be at least close to the top 4.
Global Esports getting 10 finish points and 10 placement points. That's going to be 20 points in total. Not really taking the advantage of the power play system either. So that's a different thing for Global Esports. Still, it feels like they're testing the waters, executing that passive gameplay. They want to be defensive, play for the chicken dinner, which makes a lot of sense. We have been seeing a lot of teams follow that same pathway, and Victorious Sumus is also one of them. But if you really look at the overall standings, as I mentioned, for Hero Extreme Godlike, they're still in the top 4. Getting these 15 points is just going to be a boost.
Yeah, they're going to try and increase their lead further now against all the other teams who are up there in top 4 itself, and probably keep that bounty on their back for a longer period of time. And I think so, I'll have to say, this is one of the big things coming in from this one roster, that in the earlier week itself, when the bounty was first placed on them, the next 2 games they eventually choked up big time. It was Genesis who were hunting them. Even now, Genesis are up on top, but at least Hero Extreme Godlike are doing a decent job.
I guess the conversation also has to be around Metal Esports, right? There's a day where Metal Esports just is extremely good, but there's a day where Metal Esports is just completely lacking. Luckily enough, in this day, Metal Esports, they've started things off in the top 3 in that particular game. So maybe Metal Esports might just have another banger of a day. We have seen them move up on the 9th spot with 158 points. Metal Esports, they're doing decent, don't get me wrong, but still, consistency is something that's missing.
I really want to see this team now keep on this exact same performance chart as well, because they've been doing pretty decent. We're talking about doing decent, and now finally 8-Bit are also winning their crucial fights, which they were eventually choking up early on. Now it seems like team is still playing very confident. Aquanox has found his form as well. He did perform yesterday pretty good, and even now in this game, he got 3 players of Team RN eventually just solo. So that's a big play coming in from the man.
At least the good thing is that 8-Bit's not on the last page, right?
Yes.
Now they're on the they're on the second page. So one thing is for sure, they've got the foundation laid out. They just need a few more points to topple the charts over, move on the top 8 as well. And I'm pretty sure the moment teams move in the top 8, it's a different sort of electricity that you feel. Before now, it's time for us to toss to a short break before we move on towards the lands of Miramar.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class, for today's lesson.
I already taught her something.
A huge shout out to our mobility partner TVS. Now that's a wicked upgrade. The TVS Raider iQOO brings segment's first GTT cluster digital with 85 plus connected features, best in class torque, and now 9 crazy colors. So I would recommend you guys to check out the TVS Raider.
Pretty cool bike coming in. And we've constantly seen different players as well have their own shoot over that bike, and they look absolutely cool. Hopefully we're going to see some cool gameplay coming on the map of Miramar as well. We've been talking about how there's been quite a lot of teams who've got pretty solid performance on this map. NINZA being one of them. Likitha Esports as well, who got their first chicken dinner after a long time on this very specific map, and they will be playing this one too. Against the members of Group C, Godlike's there. Bounty could be claimed up. We've also got Genesis right now to maybe try and pounce upon them.
Another team that extremely needs to perform. It's going to be Reckoning Esports. Performance is fizzling out day by day. Concerns are rising up in our mounts as well, day by day. And at this point, if the performance is going to be lacking from the side of Reckoning Esports, they will be at the last spot in the overall standings. And we might just see Phoenix Esports overtake them, which will be unthinkable because the performance has been in such a way.
I mean, you've been talking about performances being shaky. There's one device, OnePlus Nord, that has the best performance coming in from the segments phone itself. So pretty sure a lot of people would want to check that out. Make sure you check out OnePlus Nord because that is one of the best that I've actually laid my hands upon.
Of course, the OnePlus Nord series is something that you guys should move on and check out without a doubt. And even the OnePlus 13 series is incredible. That's what the players are playing on, and that's why you can see them hit those crazy shots. Once again, if you guys want to watch a few specific teams and their multicams, we've got that broadcast available on Geo Hotstar as well. You can watch specific camps of Hero Extreme, Godlike, Metal Esports, Los Hermanos, and Global Esports. It's incredible, isn't it?
Amazing, to be honest. You can try and focus down on the kind of playstyle that specific ideal wants to bring out, and one of them being Punk. Because let's be honest, right? It was, I believe, last year where Punk was added as the IGL of Godlike. And if I'm not wrong, that was also during BGMS Season 4. When Jelly was eventually, or rather Season 3, when Jelly was benched and then Punk was brought in. And he's been getting that performance since. And it's been absolutely fantastic.
The plane's going to be in the skies off the map of Miramar. And this time around, it's starting all the way from Oasis towards the opposite side, which is Minas del Sur. This plane flap pad tilted extremely towards the left side of the map. And once again, there is a possibility that the teams who want to move on towards the right side of the map this time might just end up clashing towards that pit stop location.
I'd really want to see some of those early clashes as well coming in from these teams. And on the map of Miramar, unconventionally, we have actually seen quite a lot of those early fights. Be it in Hacienda del Petron, be it in Picardo. Sometimes you also see some early hunting going in from Genesis if Team Soul is playing out here. Somewhere around Torre Ahumada or maybe just a bit north of water treatment towards those hills. This time that's not going to be the case. So Genesis, they're going to have their own fun time. Going all the way out there. IG Los Hermanos as well going towards La Cabrera. Down south of that towards Crater Fields. It's a weird split coming in from Team Aryan though in a 1-3.
Indeed. IG Los Hermanos dropping towards La Cabrera. Team Aryan towards Crater Fields. This is going to be an interesting fight. IG Los Hermanos, since there is no Soul playing in this game, La Cabrera is going to be empty. But for Metal Esports, they've still got those problems brewing up. In this power play, whoever manages to take down the rifles will get double the points. And Metal Esports, if they manage to claim and tame down the players of Reckoning Esports, that will be 8 points right there. Util tossed up, does a lot of damage too, but Metal Esports is going to use that opportunity to back away in the opposite building. Viper was taken down, barely any sort of HP.
Lucky to be breathing out here, because if that was not the case, I'm pretty sure there would have been a bounce onto them. But at least Metal will now loot on the opposite building and would be able to get at least on the equal grounds to the members of Reckoning. Reckoning haven't really had the best day, but so is the case with Aryan. And it's IG Los Hermanos, one of the hungry wolves out there. You cannot take this fight against them. They always win the drop clashes.
They're just too good. IG Los Hermanos in their drop fights. In the 4v4 fights, IG Los Hermanos, they've been unstoppable. A reckless force, but in a good way. And this time around, clashing against the players of Team Aryan. It is quite the weird clash. And did I just hear a Car 98? Yes! Someone's using a bolt-action sniper. It's been a while.
Hopefully it's not in the hands of Henry. Oh wait, it's not in the game anymore. Right now. Still, Team Aryan, they're going to try and hold their position down. The winners of the previous one, Global Esports though, seem to be in a pinch, sort of. Stray God's been taken down on the knees though. Confirmation's going to be flowing in. Veron joins in the fight. He's going to try and save the day off his team, but the pump shotgun from Pain is going to inflict a lot of damage to GE.
And now Metal Esports, it's their time to make the pounce and decapitate the players of Reckoning Esports. 3 players in one building, Viper in the opposite. Let's see how this one's going to be executed. Metal Esports, they're the aggressive warriors, but this aggression has to be proper. You cannot make a lot of mistakes. There's not a lot of room for error, but hold on to that thought. Global Esports, the winners of the previous game, instantly getting eliminated in this one. A lot of fights happening at the same time, and Global Esports getting chewed on like that. Who would have thought? That too by the players of 4TR.
It's going to be big coming in. 4TR really needed that confidence booster, and since yesterday, they have been actually performing pretty good right now. Same could be said for Metal as well. For the past few days, they have been looking way too connected. And if that's how they're going to play, yeah, I'm pretty worried about the other teams.
How is Metal Esports going to breach through? How are they going to break in this house? Every angle's being held. And Reckoning Esports just waiting for Reckoning, or for Metal Esports, to make some sort of mistake. But Metal on the opposite side too, even they know Reckoning Esports, they've got a few traps set up. If you move up just like that, they will be gunned down. Not a lot of possible ways they can breach through. They need a utility. Nice nade, Viper.
Sarcasm dripping out just like the trajectory of that nade. The only thing is that you can't really push up right away, right? There's a vector in the hands of the other player.
Yep.
And as much as, yeah, people would not really like vector, if it's this close, it becomes a deadly weapon. And I still remember Mafia from Victor Simmons pulling that nasty play off, and that was on the back of the vector on the map of Sanhok.
Especially if you've got an extended magazine, it just gets even deadlier.
GG's.
Extra ammunition on vector can be insane. K9 Esports. There we go. The boys on the horizon. And did I just see a 4X on the M249? There's no way. Okay, well, let's see how stable is it going to be. The man's prone down. Maybe he can execute it. But when I tried it, my recall is all over the place.
I'll have to see if that happens. Oh my god, you said nice nade to Viper. What about Termy pulling one better than him? Lucky that he did not eventually blow himself up. That was meant to go inside, but...
There's no way Metal Esports is going to breach in. There's no way they break through this defense. I think Metal Esports will end up losing this fight. That's what's going to happen. If Metal Esports tries to brute force, they will lose this fight.
They've got to be patient right now.
Yeah.
They can try and deprive the members of Reckoning off of maybe the healings or maybe all the other
I think they
utils.
should just back away, straight up. Metal Esports should just go house to house and back away.
I agree, because right now even K9 Esports are there for the third party, so this could very well be disastrous. As okay, Javin tries to go in for that spray down, a knock coming in for the return. He can't on the other side, Javin still holding strong. But can they eventually find the last two members as well? That's going to be the big question.
Metal, they've still got two more men inside of that house, or in that building. Termy and Venom right next to each other, and Termy wants to terminate Jawin, and that's what happens. The man's taken down in Reckoning Esports. All the glimmers of hope now fading away. Blunders after blunders in this fight. The last man of Reckoning. I highly doubt he can do anything. The man did make an entrance. He does find a knock somehow, and he also gets the confirmation, but that celebration's not going to last for too long, because there's also K9 Esports in the fray.
Termy getting 4 finishes out of that. If only he was the impact player of the team and it was the weekend, this could have been a dream start for Medal. But as you've said, another hunter lurking out in the shadows, though. A pack of hyenas that always steal away the food of the lions. Right now, Medal aren't really the lions. They're eventually the food that hyenas want to steal.
Unless Metal Esports plays really good defense, there's no escape option available. Let's be honest. Metal Esports cannot really make it out from that scenario. K9 Esports has to push up, go for this fight against Metal Esports. And if Metal Esports ends up winning, that's the only escape option available. So Metal Esports has to win, no matter what.
This could be one of the dream start coming in from their side. Not really the one that he could say for Aryan. He's cooking up a nade right now. A couple of players down. He's going to get nothing out of that nade. And if anything, he's all the way down on his knees now.
Mistakes after mistakes. Overcommitting to an angle, getting knocked out in such an awkward way and place. How are your teammates supposed to give you a revival? It's impossible. Aryan's done for. There's no way he's going back. And yeah, this really gives us time to talk about Reckoning Esports and how they've been losing those firefights now. It feels like slowly and steadily, Reckoning Esports, the graph is going down. Usually you see a team get better over time, but Reckoning Esports is getting bad over time.
Absolutely factual representation of the things that we're talking about right now. But hold on a second. It's not just Reckoning who's struggling onto those ends. It's also Team Aryan as they get absolutely destroyed. Only one member remaining, and that's going to be Devotee, who's all the way up on top. But man, oh man, is definitely not Jesus out here.
I wish we can see the zone on the screen. I wish we can see the map feed. The circle's panning out in quite the extremity, at least as of now.
La Cobreria.
All the way on the other side. And the funny part is, 50% of the zone, it's somewhere we haven't even seen it pop up in the past. But hold on to that thought. Team Aryan, still with this high ground, they can do a decent bit of damage against Los Hermanos.
Oh my god. Man, I know, but yeah, no. That's not happening. But for now, FS as well, they're eventually trying to gatekeep the members of Godlike. Oh, a lovely sandwich situation coming in. God, he needs the support from his teammate as well as he tries to move past. 6 bullets in the back, but it's Simp to win it out in the open, though still will get knocked down, and Punk will need to save his man. Jonathan's already out at Minnow. He's going to be trying to provide that cover fire, but not until Roman stands up on top.
FSC Sports, they can actually punish the players of Hero Extreme Godlike, and Godlike is squad in the awkward spot as well. And look at who is in the fray. Now it's also True Rippers in the sidelines. Even they're looking like vultures, waiting to pounce on top of the opportunity. But Roman, he threats the needle. He finds a crucial knock. Another man of Hero Extreme Godlike's down and out. They had an incredible previous game, but this game, Hero Extreme Godlike, they've lost all the keys. And the lock is hammering them apart. The last man, Admino, he won't be able to shift into his God Mino form. It's impossible when you've got 3 players in front who just want to punish you no matter what. And Admino to isolate the duel as well is going to be extremely tough, but if he still somehow manages to do that, that will be insane. Here's the vehicle approaching him. Admino instantly backs away as well. But FSC Sports, they've got all the right to win this fight, and Admino peeks out. He's not going to be able to do anything against Levi.
Shuts him down as well with the S12K, and if he was not able to, there was a buggy running and blowing his head. That's a nasty play from FS. And I was actually hoping for True Ripper's third party to come in through, but they decided that they're going to try and prioritize the zone. On the southwestern end, that's where Phoenix Esports will be holding and gatekeeping the other teams. You know what? This circle just keeps on shifting towards the north.
And Genesis Esports might just have the biggest advantage right next to 8-Bit. And probably these two teams are going to try to go for that contention on the hilltop.
Go for it.
Their position will be compromised, but that high ground will help them so much funnel in those frags. And this game of Miramar has been extremely passive so far. Yeah, a few fights did happen off the rip. We did see a few eliminations, but now the mid game, it's quite slow.
It's been very slow, to be honest. Half of it is because of the way how the circle keeps on forming. Most of the teams are now trying to prioritize that circle, though. During all of that commotion which we were actually seeing, K9 was able to finish off middle. The defense did not come through right now, and the offense is absolutely fantastic of 8-Bit. It's MyG lost Hermanos right now. They've got the short end off the stick as they try to run away back to safety. All the way in the extremities as well, only to end up in the arms of Phoenix. Divided and being destroyed. It's not really the Trojan that's going to destroy you. You yourself moving up in front of Achilles.
MyG lost Hermanos. Evil is trapped. Around him is Phoenix Esports. And Phoenix, they've already risen back up from the ashes. They've got the wind of the sails. They're winning those firefights. They're feeling themselves. Juthin, Godin, Archit. This trifecta of death just needs to find another Kickstarter. And the moment they find that, MyG lost Hermanos will be obliterated. I mean, technically, he's just one man evil, so I highly doubt he can do anything anyways. But now he's pushed out in the open, position's compromised, and he still finds a crucial knock. Juthin's down, Phoenix Esports, now it's going to be chaos. And panic settling in. And this nade from Evil, if it's going to find another knock, that will be the icing on top of the cake. Does chip out a bit of that damage. This Molotov's going to do a lot of damage as well. Phoenix Esports, they will still make it alive.
That was still a bit scrappy, I'd have to say, but at least they did not lose any member. Big one, MyG lost Hermanos, losing a couple to 8-Bit, and then the rest of the members to Phoenix. And this is what we always talk about, winning the first early fight and then getting caught in the rotation. It's like the timings are just not there right now. 4TR, they've got to try and hold their ground down against Victor Sumus.
Indeed. And 4TR, the fact that they've gotten 5 finishes so far, and majority of those have been in the power play as well. 4TR's doing pretty decent. Solid start. Victor Sumus on the opposite side, they cannot afford to have any sort of casualty on top of them because they like to play for the end game. And luckily enough, there will be no casualty.
Beautiful. Victor Sumus, though, they already had lost one player. Second one's knocked down on his knees. I did see the feed pop up the name of Genesis as well. Gravity was also able to find a hand out there. But man, the circle shift again. It's kind of giving PTSD to the rest of the players who are all the way down south. Look at the Esports with the 2-2 split. Devotee from Arden, the solo strangler. K9 as well, who are now trying to barge in from the southeastern area, where they've either got to take the fight against Genesis or they'll have to focus their attention towards Mad Kings. Mad Kings are pretty spread out though, so maybe if OnePlus really want, they can try and force their way forward from that angle.
Absolutely. And Genesis Esports as of now, the only thing they really need to deal with is going to be K9 Esports. Just send hunters and he will deal with them. The man's enough. Zapping the boys. Unfortunately, losing out on Yash is definitely not a good news, but Genesis Esports, it's them. We know they pack a lot of punch, and it's the massive one as well. But Mad Kings, this time, oh, they found themselves in the deadlock. How can they break free? It's K9 Esports. Now they switch their focus against Genesis Esports. Omega, the man's a bit too aggressive. Hunter's in the sidelines. He's catching a lot of hurt upon himself, but unfortunately, Omega, he runs out of bullets in the magazine, and Omega will be punished. And in the end, the confirmation follows up from Genesis Esports.
Unfortunate for K9 getting caught between two different teams, but that information has been now given, and they're focusing their full attention towards Mad Kings. A couple of players already knocked down, just two remaining right now, so it's down to a 1v2. Can Slug pull it off? Two finishes for Beast. He's already got one now. He's going to get that revival in onto Ninja Boy. It's going to be big if he can eventually get this one down, but Mad Kings, man, it's a big mess up.
Yeah.
That now they've got to take care of.
Apollo's the only man surviving from Mad Kings, and here comes the pounce from Slug. Apollo wanted to toss that Molotov up the staircase, but Slug, he played that brilliantly. Pushed up beforehand, but Slug, he still messes up big time. Even with the S12K in hand, he was not able to win that duel. And now Polo, he might just have the advantage, but Ninja Boy, he's got the HP advantage, and that's where he can play for the win. Pushes up close and personal with that shotgun, and somehow K9 Esports, a massive blunder. How did this happen? Slug and Ninja Boy, the two of the strongest pillars for K9, now losing the grip in the game. We spoke about a team that gotten worse as the time kept on going by. And K9 is also one of those teams. The performance is going downhill. Questionable plays, questionable decisions. And K9 Esports, they need to find a patch to this problem.
A big one indeed, because it's not just Slug now, it's also Ninja Boy, who's on the struggling end. Man, but what a play from Apollo. And notice it, Necro, not a DBS in the hands, not a pump shotgun, not an S12K. It was a UMP and a Scar. From the automatic rifles out there, now Magic wanted to focus down up in front of him, but just not have enough mojo to try and sustain through all of that. Starboy will eventually move up front to try and help his teammate out at Harsh's fence. He's knocked out up in the open, so that confirmation could eventually flow, but Starboy notices the support all the way in the back. He's got an 8 cooked up. That one can do a lot of damage to True Rippers.
Likitha Esports. 3 players in the front, Smoker, Starboy, and XOXO. Likitha, they have been doing okay, but at least over the time they're getting better. 114 points on the board. Likitha Esports, they've got a decent foundation. And if they keep on getting 10-15 points per game, that's just going to be even better. True Rippers in the front. Hydro, the man's chipped up pretty low. Jelly on the left, Starboy's going to back away. Smoker's getting chipped up slowly and steadily, but Jelly right there. He wants to get a confirmation, and that will be it. True Rippers, all the 4 players pushing in tandem. Starboy and XOXO right next to each other. And Starboy with this nade has to hit the mark. Utilities right next to Starboy. The man gets shipped up even low. And True Rippers, now they're going to gain the confidence, but still EXO from the back. That cover fire is unbreakable. As long as EXO's not knocked out, this man's going to be a big pain in the foot for True Rippers. But Keo wants to form an off angle and he does not know where Starboy is. But maybe now with these moves, Keo knows where Starboy is. And let's not forget, even Starboy, this man's had his glorious moments. Right next to Keo, Starboy's moved up, and Keo finds that line of sight as he eliminates Starboy. And now in the final few moments, it's EXO in the back lines.
He's gonna try and hold it all down. A big fumble coming in from Likitha Esports as they lose EXO 2 by the flank of Jelly. Beautiful calls being made by True Rippers as they still hold their ground on the southern fray. Thanks to K9 and Mad Kings doing so much damage to each other. Phoenix Esports were also eventually taken care of by FS. We saw that happen in the elimination feed. Victor Sumus right now in the dead center. And the only good located compound out in this circle. But 8-Bit is the team that I really want to focus on. They've got a pretty solid positioning out there. All the way on the high ground. They're fully covered from all of the areas. Aquanox, with his power, they're watching anyone who they want to drop in from the southern area. With a 2-2 split, they've got all the information that they need.
Yeah, but hold on to that thought, Apollo. Now this man needs to deal with the entirety of True Rippers. And after winning that clutch against K9 Esports, it's probably given the man a lot of confidence. But since he's the only player standing, yeah, there's a lot of things he's going to be lacking up on. First of all, the most important thing is going to be intel. Second one is the positioning. And Apollo to work upon it, it's impossible. He's the only player standing.
The best he can do is probably find Devotee and maybe get a position point for his team. Team Aaron has either ways been on a very big struggling lead. 8-Bit right now. They're the ones who are in the prime position to try and convert it apart from Victor Sumus.
This is such an awkward game. Probably one of the most awkward games of Miramar we witnessed so far.
True.
8-Bit, yeah, they're doing decent. There we go. The final man of Mad Kings eliminated by the hands of Beast. Now spotting out True Rippers, make that rotation. The shots were taken. The vehicles on the verge of being busted. But not yet. It's just smokes coming out. 8-Bit on the hilltop. They've got the highest of the ground to play with. And FS Esports, if this lurk, it finds any sort of success, 8-Bit's game plan will be shattered.
Yeah. And Aquanox does not really have any kind of positioning which can provide this information. S-Power will have to keep a watch onto those players. You've got Genesis as well right under your feet. So even though they've got this height advantage, right, but with the topography of this hill, it's pretty difficult to figure out what's really happening at the foothill.
True. That's what usually happens on the map of Miramar. The hilltop, yes, it will give you a lot of advantage, but you never know what's going on right underneath. And also, if you're on the hilltop, everyone knows that you're there. So your position as well is compromised big time.
True.
Your hold needs to be solid. Your shots need to be precise. Devotee, not devoted enough. That's why he gets eliminated.
Good thing that's happening out here right now is that we're finally seeing that resurgence of True Rippers again. I think out that one duel against Likitha Esports too, with all the players surviving, then finding the stragglers. It's big coming in from their side. They really needed this game.
8-Bit finally realized that they're getting crept upon. Lovish right underneath the man, and S-Power. This nade is not going to do anything, not even close to Lovish.
Repositions.
If I was S-Power, I'll drop down.
That's why he's still playing in BGMS and we are sitting on the desk.
He's going to drop down, watch. It's S-Power.
It's not.
There's no way the man's going to play it safe, right? Whoa, the nade was so close. The second one! It's going to find the knock! S-Power and the boys doing the job perfectly well. He does not even need a drop. The nade's going to do the job. Levi and Roman in the back now, going to reunite once again. And FS Esports, now with just a two-man squad. This chicken dinner will be tough to convert. Unless somehow 8-Bit gets picked off on the hilltop, which is impossible.
But the circle is now going to force them into an awkward position. They'd have to deal with
oh my God, what?
Roman way too quickly right now. And it's not just one, but rather two. Both the players who had the 1-2 punch on that nade, Roman shuts both of them down. Aquanox is going to try and pull something off, man. Raiden is way too far away in the backline. He cannot provide any cover. His power's been taken down, and this nade should find Beast as well.
Okay.
Lovely answer back from Aqua.
That's going to suppress the emotions of FS Esports, at least as of now. The intentions cooled down. But that two-piece from Roman was insane. And now 8-Bit, their plans are shattered. They need to play for the revival, and that's what's going on. But Aquanox, now there's going to be a massive burden on the man's shoulder. Utilities tossed in the front. Lovish still playing with a lot of fire. And keep this thing in mind, there's also True Rippers now creeping and crawling their way up. This hilltop's going to be contested by a lot of teams. FS Esports now gaining confidence. But the moment they step on the hilltop, they get eliminated by the likes of 8-Bit. One last man standing, even his suppression's there, but not enough. Roman, this man is somehow still dealing a lot of damage. This one-man Roman's been making a lot of waves on the hilltop, but in the end, he gets taken down, and that's it from FS.
Beautiful performance from 8-Bit, losing his power in that, yes, but still 3 men strong. And that too when Roman was putting that kind of performance up. Slip-up was there, yes indeed, but bringing themselves back was the main thing. A little bit of an impatience there because both the players eventually funneled against.
How is 8-Bit going to play this now?
Yeah, they have to try and force a fight against one or the other team right now. Genesis and True Rippers are locking on, yes, but you've got to force out Victor's Sermus out of that compound. Otherwise, they will just keep on grabbing the finishes.
I highly doubt Gravity's going to be able to do a lot of damage at the end. He's the only man standing, so for Genesis Esports, yeah, the game plan's probably going to be to squeeze in as many points as possible, but for a team like 8-Bit, the game plan has to be to win. They had the game-winning spot, but they messed up in that fight against FS Esports, and because of that one mess-up, now the odds and the chances of 8-Bit winning are extremely low.
Oh my God.
8-Bit moving aggressive against True Rippers. Hydro backs away once again right underneath the cliff.
Now,
man safe.
What do you do? That's what do you do. Nice knock coming in from Raiden. But do they have any idea how many people are going to be there? If they're going to go in for the slam, they've got to pick every single one of them up. They did this last time. Aqua was able to find something, but now that's going to be even more difficult because it's right under the hill. And Jelly is constantly providing the cover.
Capture the ground slowly and steadily. 8-Bit. They're moving a step down slowly and steadily, clearing the grounds, which is a good thing. Raiden and Aquanox together. Yeah, the players are chipped up. They do have enough resources, though. Aquanox wants to form an off angle. But True Rippers, they're not going to let that happen, especially Kyo in the backlines. The man too exposed. Kyo almost going to be knocked out in that scenario, but Aquanox is still not able to thread that needle. He's still not able to find the off angle. Right underneath True Rippers, they're being a major threat. And they possess that pretty well too. But Jelly, this knock, it's crucial. 8-Bit being suppressed big time. Beast taken down and confirmed. This could have been 8-Bit's game. But that one mishap against FS Esports, it's now costing 8-Bit this entire game.
Phenomenal call coming in from Jelly as well. The Snade's going to find a knock again onto Aqua. And the Blue's going to make his move as well. Raiden, he's got to patch himself up and only then can he do something. Another nade being thrown as he's down in that HP. True Rippers playing with a 1-3 split, sending Kyo all the way on the other side. All he needed to do was to survive, and he did exactly that.
But look at what Victorious Sumus is doing. They're trying to isolate that duel against that one man of True Rippers, which is Kyo. And Kyo now in a big amount of trouble, but he somehow clutches it out. Even Hirsch helping him from the back. Kyo surviving that position. This is True Ripper's game to lose. And 8-Bit with a 2-man squad, if they still somehow bounce back, will be insanity. Kyo from the back. He's got the line of sight. But the execution's still going to be tough. Last 2 men of 8-Bit. Aquanox from the top, constantly pouring in those shots.
Raiden
But right underneath, his position's known though. And True Rippers, they finally make the pounce as they isolate the duel against Raiden. And that's gonna be a clean shutdown against 8-Bit. As True Rippers, they claim massive chicken dinner. And this will be a catapult in a solid spot.
Massive call from Jelly and what an insane performance from iQOO. Both of these players were out there up on the stage. What a pullback. Sending this one dude all the way to the other side. And then him keeping his team alive with a constant spray down. All he needed to do was stay alive for his team, and he did exactly that.
I also love the decision making from Victor Sumus. That was a good call from Victor Sumus because they knew the man's isolated and all by himself. They made the pounce, but unfortunately for Victor Sumus, in the process of making that pounce, Hirsch got the first knock from True Rippers, and that's where it all faded away.
Even Jelly was providing that cover fire right from under that cliff, and that's also something that helped iQOO stand up strong. They got a couple of knocks right from the other side, and then iQOO himself doing a phenomenal job. My goodness, True Rippers, phenomenally played.
Incredible stuff from the side of True Rippers. And if you look at the final blow moments as well, they're quite insane. But let's move on to the stage for the interview.
मुझे पैसे लेने चाहिए. क्लियरली यहाँ पे जो भी इंटरव्यू के लिए आ रहा है उसके लिए किस्मत तो अच्छी चमक रही है. जली क्लियरली यू आर नॉट द प्रॉब्लम.
आपको ऐसा डाउट क्यों है? मेरे को एक बात बताओ पहले तो.
मेरे को डाउट नहीं है, बट जिस तरीके से ये गेम गया, यू ऑल्सो हैड दैट पोजीशन एडवांटेज. क्या ये परफेक्ट गेम खेला है तुम्हारी पूरी टीम ने?
ये परफेक्ट था, और मैं एक्चुअली बताऊँ तो मैं ऐसे मैचेस के लिए ये गेम खेलता हूँ क्योंकि ये बहुत ज्यादा ऐसा टफ सर्कल था, और उस टाइम पे आईजीएल की जो कैपेबिलिटी है वो टेस्ट होती है, और मेरे को लगता है मैंने अपना रोल बहुत अच्छे से किया. साथ में जो मेरे सॉल्टर्स उन्होंने बहुत अच्छे से काम किया, और मतलब यही एक मैच था जिसके लिए मैं ये गेम खेलता हूँ, जो मेरे को थ्रिल देता है. ऐसे मैचेस में बहुत ज्यादा मजा आता है.
यार मैं अंदर मैच देख रहा था, एंड बाय द टाइम आई केम हियर, लास्ट आई चेक iQOO के कुछ 6 फिनिशेस थे. व्हेन यू हैव समवन लाइक हिम ऑन योर लाइनअप, आसान हो जाता होगा काम. मतलब बताने की भी जरूरत नहीं है क्योंकि ही इज डूइंग हिज जॉब टू द बेस्ट एबिलिटी.
वो ये देखो, हर एक प्लेयर अगर अपना बेस्ट देगा तभी हम लोग एक ट्रॉफी उठा सकते हैं. और माइंडसेट जितना भी खराब हो या फिर हमारे मैचेस अभी तक अच्छे नहीं जा रहे थे, लेकिन फिर भी iQOO ने वो दिखाया टीम को कि भाई मैं कर लूंगा, टेंशन मत लो. तो हम लोगों का वही फेथ था उसके ऊपर, और उसने अल्टीमेटली डिलीवर कर दिया.
असॉल्टर कमाल का है, चिकन आ रहा है, फिनिशेस आ रहे हैं, लेकिन वो पोडियम की तरफ जो हमें बढ़ते हुए देखना चाहिए ट्रू रिपर्स को, वो नहीं हो पा रहा है. तो फॉर्मेट की वजह से और समथिंग एल्स?
नहीं, फॉर्मेट की वजह से नहीं. देखो मैचेस बहुत सारे हैं अभी, बहुत जल्दी मतलब मेरे हिसाब से जज कर रहे हैं हम लोगों को. और अगर टॉप 4 नहीं भी आते तो भी, क्योंकि अल्टीमेट गोल देखो पोडियम अगर आना भी या फिर ट्रॉफी उठनी है तो ग्रैंड फाइनल्स में उठने वाली है. अभी अगर टॉप पे आते हो नहीं आते हो मेरे को लगता है इतना मैटर करता है. तो अभी हम लोग बस वो ट्राई कर रहे हैं, इतने सारे मैचेस है, प्रैक्टिस करते रहे, अपनी सिनर्जी जितनी अच्छी हो सकती है उतने बनाते रहे, नया मैटा इसमें अडेप्ट कर सके. तो वो ये मेरे को इतना फर्क पड़ता नहीं अभी हम टॉप पे आते हैं नहीं आते हैं, लेकिन ग्रैंड फाइनल्स है जो मेरे हिसाब से मैटर करता है.
हमारी टीम समझती है कि तुम लोग बहुत खुश हो ये चिकन डिनर हासिल करके, बस टेबल मत तोड़ना इतना ज्यादा उसको क्लैप बैंक करके. ठीक है, जस्ट किडिंग. TR picking up a chicken dinner. What a great win for them. वापस आएंगे इस ब्रेक के बाद.
Do it like that. 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 Like that. Do it like that. Do it like that.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born, they practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
You forgot to charge your phone. Why won't you wake
Humble beginning हमेशा नहीं था स्टार यूसी लेने से पहले सोचता था 100 बार डर था बड़ा स्कैम्स का डाउट थे हजार तो प्ले ओपी आया तो लगाई नया पर तो मैंने लिया यूसी सेव गेम किया रेस प्ले मेरे साथ यहाँ ड्रॉप से कम हार्ड प्ले तेरे साथ ओपी तू भी कर ले स्टार्ट
Perfection personified by True Rippers in that previous game. But the real MVP has to be the zone, right? One of the most off circles that we've seen so far. Of course, you can also call it a bit of that curveballing shift, to be honest.
I mean, it was super fun to watch, and I 100% agree with the statement that Jelly eventually mentioned right there on stage that yeah, these kinds of the circles are the ones that actually test the exact capacity and capabilities of an IGL, and I'm pretty sure that he is one of the finest out in the industry, and he showcased that perfectly.
Of course, but as Jelly mentioned himself as well, that we cannot really judge too early. There's still a lot more games to go. There's still a lot more days to go inside of this league stage, so you never know. Even the team at the bottom half might just directly make a massive catapult in the top 8 with consistent back-to-back good performances, which makes a lot of sense from Jelly, right? We should not judge them too early.
I agree to that as well, because True Rippers themselves, they've had kind of an inconsistent performance per se, if you talk about it. Early on, yes, they were able to get a good performance, then they eventually dipped. But now today, again, performing super solid. And here's the fun thing. We've actually seen a lot of players get the MVP with over 6 to 7 finishes now.
Yeah, it's been consistent now, right? Teams are taking that aggressive approach and it's been working out pretty well. iQOO getting 7 finishes and 47% of that finish contribution, which is insane. But then if you move on towards Best Companion with 3 rescues, it's also going to be Hirsch from True Rippers. The entirety is filled with True Rippers in this banner. And honestly speaking, look, at the start we all thought it's going to be 8-Bit's game, but the moment FS Esports followed their dreams, we all knew True Rippers might just be the one to clinch their fist and win that game, unless 8-Bit pulls off a miracle.
Yeah, and that miracle was eventually not being pulled off out there, right? The big thing is that it was also Victorious Sumus, which I thought that maybe they would eventually pull a big chicken dinner, because they had nowhere to go. They didn't do anything but sit sweetly in that one compound that no one challenged. And they dropped the ball big time as well, all thanks to iQOO and Hirsch.
Exactly, but let's have a look at the never settled moments by OnePlus. And with the way the action kicked off from the side of Metal Esports, we never thought that Metal Esports was going to be able to breach through that defense, win that fight. But Metal Esports still somehow did that. And Reckoning Esports, it's a major concern now. The performance is dipping by day, and this is not something you expect. But as Jelly said, there's still a lot more games to go. We cannot really judge them early, but we do not have any other option either. We need to judge them.
Over 30 games remaining out here right now. Still a couple of more weeks to go. Yes, I agree. But man, this kind of enthusiasm was needed from True Rippers, because we know the lineup's potential. We know what they can do. Finally, they're showcasing that as well. And a big 25-point chicken dinner too, considering there was no major clash in the power play or any kind of impact player perk as well.
We know it should have been 8-Bit chicken dinner, but it was not a bad game at all. With 17 points, 8-Bit is still doing pretty okay and holding a strong spot in the overall standings. 4TR getting 9 points. Finally, a bit of that ray of hope showcasing from 4TR. And Metal Esports getting 8 points off the rip off that drop clash that we saw.
That was a big thing as well, because when you consider all the other teams now, this is probably one of those games where every single team has got at least a point. That is including Godlike, Team Arden as well, Likitha Esports. They've at least found something. No one's going empty-handed, but yeah, signs of concern again being shown by Team Arden, Likitha. Phoenix would still not give them that big of a problem because it was a pretty difficult circle to deal with. But yeah, Likitha Esports, I really want to see them make that bounce back as well.
I guess Aryan also has to be the hot topic, right? Because a while ago we saw Aryan in the top 8. And now look at Aryan, pretty far back in the overall standings. Even for them, the performance is not looking that great. And Aryan is consistently maintaining that same pace where they're playing that passive and defensive gameplay. And that approach sometimes works out, sometimes it doesn't. In my opinion, even Team Aryan should switch things up a bit.
I really want to see them play on the aggressive end too. It's not like we haven't really seen them go for any kind of drop clash. It just is the fact that they're not that good at it. Only 16 bonus points till now if we are really considering everything, right? And I believe that is not really utilizing the full impact of all of the perks that you can get. The same thing goes for True Rippers. That's why even though they've got quite good amount of chicken dinners, they haven't really been able to get any major leap.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the second page from Leaderboard, this is one of those moments where, yeah, you of course know that these teams have got a good foundation set up for themselves, but on the third page, we all know they're still pretty far away from that first page. It's still a major game that they need to maybe even get close.
I really hope that they'd eventually get that, right? Because you really have to utilize the power play. You have to utilize the bounty points. If anyone is really thinking about how bounty points can eventually impact you, consider this. You take a drop clash. As soon as you take that drop clash, you get, what, 8 points at least instantly if you're able to wipe them off, and 10 points combined with that. That's 18 points off the mix.
Hey, but once again, right, yeah, enough talks about all the calculations that we're doing. Maybe now it's time to tell the audience about the English test that's there. It's the Duolingo English test, which is accepted over 6,000 plus universities. And I would recommend you guys to move on and check the Duolingo English test yourself as well. And let us know how the results were. But back towards the conversation that we're having, right? Now, once again, the conversation revolves around the teams that are there on the last page. Yes, there's still a decent bit of games and days to go. But honestly speaking, not enough to make for them to come back. But for now, let's move on to a short break.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Unlock the Dravian X suit starting at 10 UC on BGMI. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock the Dravian X suit starting at 10 UC on BGMI. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
True Rippers after an iconic comeback on the map of Sanhok. Still, now the question remains, will the consistency follow up after that one? But now, as we know, another group will be chiming inside of the action. We all know things will once again start to fluctuate just because of that one entry from another group. We've got teams like God's Reign, OG, Soul, NINZA making a comeback. And at this point, anything can happen.
Certainly, anything can happen. Yesterday also, OnePlus God's Reign tried to do a comeback. Few good games were there from their side. So yes, it can actually be a good day for the players of God's Reign. But yesterday, it was the map of Sanhok where Phoenix Esports also got a chicken dinner with 31 points. Sanhok has always been unpredictable, and this time, even the players of Team Soul are also joining in.
There's two teams with bounty on top of their skulls in the Group B itself, which is REVENANT, X-Park, and OG. And for both these teams, maintaining that top 4 spot is going to be extremely crucial. Being in the top 4, yes, it's a bit of a sigh of relief, but at the same time, it's the pressure of consistently performing that might get to you. And let's hope that, especially for a team like REVENANT X-Park, which is heavily relying on Trey Scott's going to be performing today.
Even Fierce has also been performing really good. It's not just like Trey Scott is the only solo player performing from the side of REVENANT X-Park. Fierce has also been stepping up majorly, but speaking of stepping up, you can also earn few rewards on every purchase with Google Play points. And I'm sure, Necro, you do have good amount of Google Play points.
I do get my purchases here and there sometimes, you know. And yeah, I do have a few reward points myself, which I'll be claiming soon. But once again, back towards the conversation that we're having, right? Now, we've of course got Soul on the board too in this particular game, and especially that Soul was not playing the first 2 games. We know the point standings, their position has been dropped down by a bit because we did see a few fluctuations here and there. We did see a few stragglers move up, a few stragglers move down. But now that Soul is back, one thing is for sure, they will try to hammer down the lobby and once again get that good spot in the hand.
Maybe they can actually go against the bounty.
एक स्टार स्टडेड लाइनअप जो आपने पहले लीड किए और अभी जो लाइनअप है जहां नए फेसेस हैं, क्या फर्क है इन्हें लीड करने में?
मेरे को तो ऐसा लगता है कि अगर मैं ये सोच के लीड कर रहा हूँ किसी टीम को कि इस टीम में स्टार्स है या फिर इस टीम में अंडरडॉग प्लेयर्स है, तो फिर तो मेरे को आईजेल करना छोड़ देना चाहिए, क्योंकि फिर मैं सेम पेज पे कभी भी आईजेल कर नहीं पाऊंगा. अगर मैं किसी भी प्लेयर को अपने से बड़ा मान के चल रहा हूँ या फिर ऐसा मान के चल रहा हूँ ये स्टार है, मैं इसको कुछ बोल नहीं सकता, तो फिर तो लाइनअप चल नहीं पाएगी कभी भी. तो मैं किसी भी लाइनअप में रहता हूँ तो सेम ही ट्रीट करता हूँ हर एक प्लेयर को. वो फर्क नहीं पड़ता मेरे को कितना भी बड़ा स्टार हो या फिर कोई भी अंडरडॉग हो. अगर कोई गलती करेगा तो मैं उसको वहाँ पे उसी तरह से सुनाऊंगा जैसे एक अंडरडॉग को सुनाता हूँ या फिर एक स्टार प्लेयर को सुनाता हूँ. तो इक्वल है, कुछ ऐसा डिफरेंस नहीं है.
Jelly clearly mentioning one fact and one statement, saying that he does not really differentiate between the OGs or the star players or even the new players. He treats everyone equally. So let's see how True Ripper's performance is going to be continuing towards this game of Sanhok, as this map is completely zone-oriented, as the plane's going to be in the skies once again, starting all the way from Tombang towards the opposite side, which is Mongnai. And since this plane flat path, it's tilted a little bit up north, it's still not going to matter. It's the map of Sanhok. Anyone can go wherever the hell they want.
Yeah, even if you want to go towards the side of Dogs, Kampong, Lakawi, it's going to be an easy journey. But we were talking about the players of Team Soul that yes, there is a possibility they can take advantage of the power play and maybe go against those bounty teams. But even the players of True Rippers, they have started staging a comeback, and recently their gameplay has been improving a lot. Same goes for the players of Team 8-Bit as well, but let's see. For now, from the looks of it, it looks like we are actually going to have a drop clash in Painan.
Did seem like it.
Where the players of iQOO Soul are also heading.
Yeah, I mean, there is Soul and NINZA right next to each other, but I highly doubt this clash will actually come through. It feels like NINZA are gliding down south a bit more, and even Soul are still in their parachutes. I'm not exactly sure what sort of confusion this is, but I hope we do get to see early game action. I love to see it. And now, MyG lost Hermanos against the players of NoNx. It's another one of those fights that would love to see, and Reckoning Esports constantly dropping down in the charts. And I'm pretty sure Reckoning Esports do want to make him bounce back as well. But God's Reign, this time, Delta was taken down a bit low in this fight. The man patches himself up. God's Reign's got the man advantage off the rip, and that's something God's Reign will try to abuse.
Already a numbers advantage towards the side of God's Reign. Even Neo gets a knock onto Max. Delta trying to chase the other player of Reckoning Esports, Flock on the other side of the wall, and Delta along with his teammate is already charging towards him, but it is a DBS on the other side, and Neo with a UAV 45 instantly marks an end for Flock. It's the last player remaining from the side of Reckoning Esports. The struggle is actually real. Viper, the only man in a 1v4 situation, and it is actually Delta with the DBS who is approaching towards him. It's not going to be easy. A 1v4, not easy to clutch, especially when you are struggling so much.
Reckoning Esports, especially with how things are looking like for them in the overall standings, and it feels like game by game the performance is getting worse. They're losing out in the firefights and for some reason lacking on the confidence as well, and now they're getting absolutely obliterated and bum rushed by the players of God's Reign. It's a major concern, and if they do not start to patch this problem, I'm pretty sure Reckoning Esports will fade away in the overall standings, and we might just see them move on towards the playoffs. Look, at the end of the day, luckily enough, no one gets eliminated from the league stage, and probably a lot of teams are taking advantage of that as well.
It's not only Reckoning Esports. Consistency has been a problem for the players of Likitha Esports as well. This time, they are also the first one to be completely wiped off from the server on the 16th spot with 0 points. And it was actually the players of REVENANT X Park. And speaking of REVENANT X Park, yesterday only they accumulated 86 total points. It was a very good day for the players of REVENANT X Park, and such a good start. 8 total points at the very start with no casualty is definitely going to help their case. But for now, kind of a stalemate situation in boot camp. MyG up against the players of NoNx. Even NoNx is also one of those teams which has been struggling in the leaderboard.
NoNx, luckily enough, both the teams are playing completely defensive. But it's not really that characteristic, especially for a team like MyG Los Hermanos. They always like to play aggressive, but in this game, for some reason, MyG Los Hermanos playing it a bit passive. They're not too confident that they can take down the players of NoNx, which makes a lot of sense. NoNx's position, it does not seem like it's properly compromised yet. They do not have the pinpoint location of everyone, but Aryan, he wins that duel, but he still gets taken down by the window. A good crossfire coming through from that window. The cover fire saved the day for the man of NINZA. He could have been taken down. He could have been thirsted completely. But that one opening from the window saved the day. And now NINZA, they know they're also getting surrounded from the sidelines. They need to be a bit careful. Team Aryan, they're here to save the day for the man Aryan himself, but I highly doubt that's going to be possible as Poco drops down NINZA. They do seem like they're in a bit of world of trouble. Aryan, 3 players closing up extremely close. This is one of those battles that we never know who will it favor. Henry creates the off angle right underneath, shooting the toes down, and somehow Reaper is still standing. But in the end, the damage is a bit too much to try and sustain as Team Aryan. Now they're on the verge of clinching their fists and winning this fight as the final man of NINZA is giving it all he's got, but that's not enough.
Just one knock was what Beard Baba was able to get onto the players of Team Aryan, but finally Cyrex was there to save the day for the players of Team Aryan, and those 4 finishes, 8 extra points, are going to help the players of Team Aryan, because a few days back only, Necro, we were having the discussion that Team Aryan is also on the struggling side. But looking at the circle, I think REVENANT X Park, right in the epicenter, a good start. At the very start of the game, they were able to annihilate the entirety of Likitha Esports, ranking those 8 total points at the very start, and now the circle is also favoring them.
Absolutely. Especially now with 3 players or 3 teams already done. This has been quite a quick start, quite a fiery start to this map of Sanhok. Marcos Gaming looking at the hilltop. There's OG surrounding them. But Marcos Gaming, they're known to do the unthinkable. They have been surprising us over and over again. There is one of the players outside of OG, which is quite close. And he's created that off angle. If Marcos Gaming makes a bad move, they will be punished.
On the 12th spot with 148 points is where Marcos Gaming in. Recently, they have also started stepping up majorly, especially Noddy, getting those 1v2s converted in such critical situations. Superman has also been really good with those util usages. But for now, the players of Orangutan are also keeping a close eye, especially from that hilltop. So Marcos Gaming, in that 2v2 split, they need to be very cautious. Because if you look at the position where AKOP is, he can literally see the 2+ of Marcos Gaming. He knows exactly where Noddy is along with his teammate. And all this information will actually help Orangutan annihilate the entirety of Marcos Gaming. But the main question is, Stone BGMI, out in the open, does he have any idea about AKOP?
Exactly my point. AKOP was positioned in that spot to do some damage, but now he's whiffing those shots! AKOP! He reveals his position with these shots! He had the off angle, he had the fight-winning position, but he messed up big time. And now because of that, the ice is broken. AKOP's position is now noticed. And Marcos Gaming, they can actually punish the player. AKOP's isolated, Marcos Gaming knows, and if they want, they can make the pounce. AKOP's placed himself in such a bad spot as he gets knocked out, and Marcos Gaming, now they're the one to be in the advantage. That one mishap costed AKOP's life.
Could have been cleared with precision, but AKOP, like you said, messed up, and now the tables have turned. Situation can go in the favor of Marcos Gaming, but few teams are also going for the late rotation, like the players of Team VS, Team Aryan, but AKOP, instant knock coming in. The cavalry is there, the backup is there. Aru going for the revival. Should be an easy revival, but Orangutan seems like the entire plan is crumbling down.
I'm not a big fan of what's going on. Aru smokes out the window. The only reason why the man's doing that is to make sure that no nades will be tossed in with that trajectory. But this Molotov, is it really going to find the right spot? The answer might be no. Still OG. They will be able to get that revival on top of AKOP, and now they need to start dealing damage. Now they need to start inflicting some pain and hurt. Marcos Gaming. Players on the side had an advantage for a while, but they did not take the proper measure. They were not able to stop this revival. Aru's taken down pretty low, but Authenki, he threats that needle as Bad OP gets knocked out from Marcos Gaming. This fight swinging quite back and forth. Soon enough, Bad OP is also going to be back up on his feet, so Marcos Gaming will be healthy, good and dandy.
AKOP is still trying to do something. Noddy still holding on to a very critical angle, and AKOP with that grenade trying to be the optimistic one, but hefty damage has already been dealt towards the side of Noddy. It's just one bullet which Atanki needs to connect onto him, but seems like Noddy has made it to safety of the compounds. Atanki leading the charge with the DBS, and Noddy has already patched himself. It's going to be so important. Completely unaware, caught off guard. Atanki punishes Noddy, instantly gets the confirmation point as well. But the retaliation knock onto Vizgod is something which is going to trouble the players of Orangutan at this point. Atanki going for the revival onto the fallen comrade. Even the players of NoNx, they have been eliminated on the 13th spot. Not a good news, but OG, they need to survive if they really want to retain the spot in the overall ranking.
Yeah, they need to start retaliating back. AKOP's down, but what a nade that was from Authenki. Now the big man stepping up, and just like that, within the blink of an eye, Marcos Gaming is down and out from the game. The fight stretched out for quite a while, but a bit of that burst of action in the end just sealed the deal. As Marcos Gaming, now they've been eliminated off the rip, and OG also able to take the advantage off the power play a bit.
TWOB up against the players of True Rippers, the winners of the previous game. Mac burning under that Molotov. Easy confirmation point can be secured, but Avi in such a typical situation. A 1v3 gets a knock onto Jelly, but nothing more than that. True Rippers, the momentum is still rolling in their favor in the map of Sanhok as well.
Oh boy, True Rippers. Looking at them and the form they are in, yeah, they definitely do seem quite untouchable. Especially against a fight that easy. Yeah, True Rippers is of course someone that will come out on top. Did sweat a bit, but not enough. Taking down a massive team like TWOB is not an easy task, but they just make it look easy. Almost could have been a flawless conversion, but hold on to that thought. Metal Esports, they found themselves towards Pond. This is quite a solid spot for Metal Esports to be in. And since it's the map of Sanhok, we know this is quite the zone-oriented map.
And also the momentum is also in the favor of Metal Esports. Since yesterday, Metal has been performing really good, especially Termi and Aimbot. Aimbot actually clutched in the map of Sanhok itself, where Metal got their first winner chicken dinner. And right now, they do have the advantage of the circle as well. Even the players of iQOO Soul are also looking very promising as they have the entire southern control. But they need to watch their 6. As the players of Team Orion are also trying to traverse from the southern end. God's Reign. Initial 8 points were racked up by them and now trying to take that northern control of the circle. But RNTX is also one of those aggressive force in the lobby.
Of course they are. Soul against Team Orion. And as Team Orion now fade away from this part. Not exactly sure where Team Orion's going to be breaching it from. They've been playing it from the edges, but on the map of Sanhok, I'm not a big fan of this strategy. Especially if the zone's moving away from you. No, absolutely not. Team Orion needs to find a good spot in the smack center, but to be honest, all the good spots are taken away. So now Team Orion needs to fight. And that's the only thing that's going to give them a decent spot. Or a decent advantage in this game. OG after winning that fight against Marcos Gaming, yes, it's a confidence boost. But let's not forget, OG's position in the overall standings, which was supposed to be the first spot, was taken away yesterday. And OG will be pretty unhappy about that.
I'm sure they are. But if they really get a chicken dinner in this one, or at least a very high fragging game, they can try to retain their spot. But for now, seems like the players of middle are also coming under heavy fire from the side of True Rippers, if I'm not wrong. And now middle has been left with only 3 players remaining. They need to be very cautious because on north, towards the north, they have got the players of True Rippers. Towards the southern side, they have got the players of Orangutan as well. It's not one of the best possible position to be in. Same goes for the players of God's Reign as well, as MyG is trying to traverse from the northwestern side. They've also got the players of FS in the close proximity.
Absolutely. FS Esports. There's 3 teams right next to him. Revenant X Park is one of them. There's also God's Reign and MyG lost Hermanos moving from the back. It's a shaky spot to be in. But let's see how FS Esports can actually pave a good path out of this one. Since they're inside of the circle, it's not really something they need to worry about just yet. Metal Esports in the smack center. The moment Metal Esports gets in a fight, that's going to be a major concern, since they will also be the center of attraction. And the zone moves right on top of the players of Metal Esports. MyG lost Hermanos spotted! And that's a 2-piece right there from Destro! Way to kick things off in the fight. MyG lost Hermanos, already handicapped big time. It's just down to Spy, the one last man standing in God's Reign for them. This should be a piece of cake.
Flattened in seconds. Only 1 player remaining. Not for very long. MyG, the journey inside the circle was not an easy one. And God's Reign getting 8 finishes. And MyG, again, a bad game for them. But God's Reign, they are doing pretty decent and okayish as they have the entire northern control as well. They just need to be careful from the side of True Rippers. But FS going for those southern rotation all the way towards the side of RNTX. That is where we have the players of Team iQOO Soul as well. Now, Necro, the only problem about RNTX, the position they are in, they can get sandwiched between FS and iQOO Soul.
Yeah, and there's also bounty on top of their skulls. That's another important thing. Whoever eliminates all the 4 players of our Revenant X Park, that will be bounty claimed. And as of now, all the 4 players are in that one single compound. Just Sensei a bit far, but it's not far enough. FS Esports, they've moved up pretty close, but once again, now they back away towards God's Reign. True Rippers, they're continuing their domination against God's Reign as they find a knock in the confirmation against Destro. That's the big man, IGL down. And God's Reign now is going to be on the struggling spree as FS Esports knows God's Reign struggling. They really do want to send it against him. Delta spots all the players of God's Reign, but FS Esports is a 2-2 split they're opting out to play with.
Which might go against them as one of the players of FS already on a very low HP. In fact, both the players are on a very low HP. 20 HP combined for both the players. A single grenade takes both of them down. And FS, not the start which they wanted, not a turn which they wanted in this particular game. But on the other side, even the players of Team Aryan are going up against the players of Team Orangutan, where one of the players has been knocked out. But look at Delta. Lavish right in the crosshairs of Delta. But the blue is also going dishing damage to the side of God's Reign. But Neo gets an easy job towards Lavish of FS. But RNTX versus iQOO Soul, this is going to be an important one. As you mentioned, RNTX, they have got a bounty on their heads.
Of course they have. Soul, legit the man. He does not have a good cover at all, and that's what happens. He falls down. I'm not exactly sure why he placed himself in that spot in the first place, but Revenant X-Park, oh, they're getting hit back. But at the same time, Revenant X-Park having the man advantage inside of the fight. Now it's going to give them a big advantage overall. Goblin from the back, tossing out the nade. Revenant X-Park with a 3-man squad can actually punish the entirety of Soul and get the elimination secured too. Fury's the only casualty. And the moment Fury's going to be back upon his feet, Revenant X-Park will be unstoppable, like the freaks of nature they are.
Goblin still holding on to a very important angle. Like you said, one player down from the side of RNTX. Joker slowly crawling his way towards RNTX, who are on the low ground. A single grenade can do the job. But Joker, little short on those utils, has to rely on the aim itself. The smoke cover is already there. The zone is a bit away from both these teams, and Joker, I'm sure he wants to claim the bounty points, and he's aware where exactly Sansa is. He knows where he is, and finally the spray comes in and the connection is missing. But FS in the meanwhile, they have also been eliminated, but Joker gets one, gets the second one as well. Can easily get the confirmation point as well. RNTX left with only one single player, just one finish point, and iQOO Soul, they can claim the bounty points as well.
Oh, but look at Tricegod! He spots the players out in the open! Revenant X-Park, they miss a fight that they were not supposed to! How did this happen, Revenant X-Park? How do you mess up big time like that? They had the man advantage, it was a 2v3! But they still lose it! Big stuff, massive stuff from Goblin and Joker, working in tandem together, shutting down the entirety of Revenant X-Park. And that's also the bounty claimed. Big stuff from Soul.
But look at that, Joker has been knocked out by Cheyenne of VS. Oves also gets a confirmation point, leaving Goblin all by himself. But seems like iQOO Soul has done their job. They've got enough points in the map of Sanhok that this one elimination is not going to hurt them at all. And the circle also takes a sudden shift. It is favoring the players of Team BS and also Goblin. But the problem is, he's a solo man surviving. God's Reign still having the entire northern control of the circle. Medal, True Rippers, 3 teams trying to fight against each other on the northern side.
Yeah. But Soul, if they have managed to acquire any of those points in the power play, that will be insane. And even if they have not acquired any of those points in the power play, that's still 14 points right there. And add on a few placement points, that's a great game for Soul. Goblin gets eliminated on the 6th spot. That's a lot of points right there. Soul, they've done the job in this game. And that's more than enough for Soul to actually maybe propel themselves in the top 4. There's a chance. And yes, I think they've done it.
Could be possible. God's Reign is still there. They've got 10 finish points. And if they get chicken dinner as well, that means extra 10 points. But for now, Neo has spotted down Scout OP of Metal. All by himself. Behind that hard cover. And God's Reign, if I'm not wrong, they're trying to pick fight at the multiple fronts.
Oh, look at the man up close. In God's Reign, it's the 6th sense tingling. They know there is someone up close and personal from the side of Metal Esports. And Justin, he makes that distance. He does not exactly know about the surroundings yet. He's still quite unaware, and that snake gets eliminated. Scout OP out from this game as Victorious Sumus, they're the one to put that nail in the coffin. Final 4 teams standing, and Victorious Sumus is one of them. Aimbot in the far fray, gets spotted. Those shots are quite precise as the man gets taken down extremely low. Aimbot, not a lot of possible ways the man can fight back now. 5 finishes already acquired from Victorious Sumus. And with just 4 teams standing, we all know Metal Esports, they are making a lot of rash decisions. Venom making that mad dash towards the shack in the Smack Center, but now Victorious Sumus, it feels like it is their game to lose. They're the one to conquer these lands of Sanhoks.
They certainly can. They've got the numbers advantage. They've got the information onto Kyo Lamau as well. A single man pinned down behind that rock. Molotovs, grenades being lobbed, but the connection is missing, but the information is still there. From the backlines, the players of Metal are also coming in. Jelly being dealt with. Even one of the player of VS, Thunder, has also been knocked out. God's Rain is a much bigger problem for the players of VS because the momentum is also favoring God's Rain. It is a very aggressive game which God's Rain is bringing on the table. So VS, they first need to deal with them, but before that, they have to go for the revival onto the fallen comrade.
Victor Sumus. All the 4 men still standing. Yeah, there is 1 man knocked out, but the revival's already in process. The only team that can be a spanner in the works is going to be God's Rain. Unless iQOO somehow is able to find another knock against Victor Sumus, then that's a whole different story. But I highly doubt that's going to be a possibility as iQOO gets caught out in the open. Aimbot as well, he's out in the open. The man's not going to stand a single chance as even he gets dealt with. And that's it for Metal Esports. A 3-on-4. God's Rain with 3, Victor Sumus with 4. Let's see who's going to come out on top.
Let's see. God's Rain, with only 3 players remaining, having that bit of the hard cover. But Neo out in the open and Oasis with a grenade. He can actually do a lot of damage towards the side of God's Rain. They have to be very cautious of those utilities. And finally, a chip damage towards the side of Delta and Justin as well. Even Neo is not to full HP. A single grenade takes on not just 1 but 2 players of God's Rain.
It's done. The last man of God's Rain. He can't do anything as he gives his elimination point to the blue. God's Rain eliminated, but Victor Sumus claiming a chicken dinner that they were waiting for in a long time. On the map of Sanhok, Victor Sumus reigns supreme once again. And with this sort of a performance, Victor Sumus is probably going to move in quite a remarkable spot in the overall standings. But we all know Seoul, after claiming that bounty, even they have moved in the top 4.
I'm sure they definitely have. But God's Rain, a good game from their side in terms of finished points. But VS, they started staging a comeback in the map of Sanhok itself few days back when they got, what, like 17 or more than 17 points accumulated in a single game. Sanhok is proving to be a good and strong map for the players of VS, and they're actually capitalizing on it.
It's actually rewarding their playstyle. Victor Sumus likes to play it passive, likes to play it safe. And especially Sanhok, since it's a zone-oriented map, if you found yourself in a decent spot inside of the circle, it will favor you. That's what's been going on with Victor Sumus. We all thought maybe True Rippers will be able to pull off a back-to-back, but no, that was not a case. And even at the start, we saw Marcos Gaming take a fight against the players of OG. There was a possibility they could have actually gone a chicken, but Marcos Gaming getting taken down like that took it away. But for now, let's move on to a short break. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Cheat code, bro.
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class. For today's lesson...
I already taught her something.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock the Dravian X suit starting at 10 UC on BGMI. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back after that short break, and yes, the map of Sanhok once again brings us a major surprise as Victor Sumus is the one to claim that chicken dinner and move forward in a strong spot in the overall standings once again. But OG's back-to-back bad performances is now starting to be a real concern for all of us.
Well, it is a concern, but something is not a concern. You were mentioning you're hungry, but guess what? You can get burgers at just ₹29 at Swiggy.
Absolutely insane. I mean, with the way Swiggy's bringing in these offers, of course, I would love to order a few burgers for myself as well, but then I remember I'm on a diet, so I cannot really do that. But back towards the main conversation that we're having, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on what's going on the screen, right? Because Victor Sumus, yes, it's all fun. And since they've also won the game, I'm pretty sure now the mental's going to be extremely solid for Victor Sumus. But generally speaking, man, once again, back towards the main conversation that I was trying to bring on the board, it is OG's lack of performance game by game, and that is honestly going to start to haunt them soon.
And where the table toppers are struggling in terms of the performance, few middle pack teams are actually stepping up, just like the players of True Rippers and now VS and other teams like 8-Bit also. They are stepping up majorly. There is a certain improvement in their performance, but Neo is going to the MVP with 5 finishes on 42% finish contribution. This guy was doing so much, especially in that drop clash fight which happened in the Paradise Resort.
I mean, Neo, as usual, once again, the saving grace for God's Reign. This man is bringing in that fire for God's Reign, but always being the best companion as he got that rescue. The only reason why we're not seeing the finisher in this game is because the last man of God's Reign decided to give his elimination point away to the blue zone. So he pretty much denied that final 1 point for Victor Sumus, but I'm pretty sure it's not something that's going to create a massive difference. And as we were having a conversation, now there's a big chance OG might actually shift down to the 5th spot. Since Seoul claimed that bounty, I think they've moved in the top 4.
I'm not sure if they are in the top 4, but yes, if not, they are very close to the top 4 spot. But Revenant X Park also tried to do a lot in this particular one, but it was not a really good game for them because iQOO Soul, it was a 2v4 fight, and Goblin and Joker, my oh my, the way they clutched in that moment. 10 extra points, but even the players of True Rippers, the consistency is coming in from their side. Yes, it was not a chicken dinner game, but still a decent game.
Yeah, I mean, True Rippers getting a few elimination points, backed up with a few placement points as well. Yeah, decent game. But as we move on towards the match rankings, things will be cleared up a bit more. We'll find out how many points exactly Seoul got in that previous game, and that can decide if OG's going to be in the top 4 or not. And the moment match rankings pop up, you see Seoul. Yes, they have claimed a bounty, and they have managed to acquire 16 points. Shadow, I think they've toppled over.
Could be possible, highly possible. If not, it's just going to be a 1 or 2 point difference. But even R and TX, all thanks to those finish points, they have done pretty okay in this one. 13 total points. Team Aryan, there is an improvement in their performance as well. 13 points accumulated by them. Metal Esports, consistency is there from their side. Few points are coming on the board. But the main question is, are these points enough?
I mean, overall, if you really ask me, at the end of the day, there's still a lot more games to go.
Yeah.
And no matter how many points you get right now, you never know. It's not going to be guaranteeing your position in the overall standings yet, because we all know there will be a lot of switch-ups in the overall standings as the days keep on passing by, as the games keep on passing by. And since there's so many games, even the top 4 is not confirmed yet. We might see Revenant X Park soon being thrown down to the second page. Anything can happen. That's how many games are left. And as I told you, OG is not even in the top 4 right now. And this is why I was constantly saying it like a broken record. OG's performance dip has been insane. I mean, starting all the way from the first spot with a major lead, but then slowly and steadily that lead faded away. Then we saw OG drop down to the 2nd, then we saw them drop down to 3rd, and now they've been kicked outside of the top 4.
But look at the point difference. It's only 2 point difference. One good game, they can be in the top 4. Even for the players of God's Reign, it's just 9 point difference between them and the 4th spot team. a good game from the side of God's Rain, and maybe God's Rain can actually be in the top 4. So many possibilities are there, but few teams are struggling, just like the players of Mad Kings also. They are sitting on the 15th spot with 139 points, but suddenly there is a major dip in their performance.
I mean, look, teams like Metal Esports, they were playing that aggressive game, but the previous game was a bit of a dip, right? We did not see Metal Esports do quite good. Yeah, we did see them in the final few moments, but that really did not affect their standing in the overall leaderboards. But as we look at the final page, yeah, once again, the same names pop up. It's not really a difference at all. The last page has been consistent.
Yeah. And few teams who are top teams are close to getting those 250 mark. Bottom team is struggling to get those 100 points itself.
Absolutely. But for now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. You guys do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with the upcoming matchup.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Unlock the Dravian X suit starting at 10 UC on BGMI. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock the Dravian X suit starting at 10 UC on BGMI. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Pretty fantastic game coming in for quite a lot of those teams out there. But man, God's Rain definitely shook everyone out there. But Seoul was the team that ended up claiming that bounty. And Victor the Sumus finally getting their second chicken dinner as well. So pretty solid game coming in from all of them. Shadow, now we're going to be continuing over to the map of Erangel. What are your predictions?
I don't know, man. Yesterday, TWOB, they came so very close to getting a chicken dinner. They came on the second spot. So maybe in the last Erangel, once again, TWOB can step up majorly.
I think so. They can step up majorly, maybe win some few points for themselves. But ladies and gentlemen, you guys can also rack up a few points now. You can earn the rewards on every purchase with Google Play points. So make sure you spend out some of your money so that you can earn extra rewards and then you can get some extra rewards. Everybody likes some extra, and that's one of the big reasons why we are not seeing OG up in top 4 now anymore, Shadow, because they haven't been claiming those extra bonus points as compared to every other team.
Just 2-point difference. Only 2-point difference between them and the 4th spot team, which is Team iQOO Seoul. If OG actually gets a good outing in this Erangel, and if Seoul doesn't get more points than OG, there is a very high chance that OG will end up being in the top 4. And same goes for the players of God's Rain, Destro also, because they are also just 9 points shy from the 4th spot.
And with the performance that they've been putting, with the way that they show their aggression on the map of Sanhok, starting all the way with MyG lost Hermanos, then eventually continuing to the other teams as well, I'm pretty sure they could eventually rack that up. But what a curveballing shift we've had, Shadow, now. Constantly saying a big 30-pointer lead, OG is the default OG settings, to now they are a couple of points behind the 4th place. Yeah, that's a pretty major drop. I really hope that now they can eventually push themselves back up into the series, ladies and gentlemen. They all have been feeling a little bit under the weather, like quite a few players out there, but we're going to be moving on the map of Erangel, where everyone feels over the weather, overjoyed as the plane continues on a very northern end, to be honest, right from Georgopol to Lipovka.
The flight path has never been a problem for the teams. The circle has always been, especially on the map of Erangel. We have been witnessing those crazy circles. So I'm sure the circle is something which everyone wants to be a bit lenient. But as we were talking about the teams, I'm sure you remember what really happened yesterday. Genesis getting a 15 bomber in a single game. Revenant X Park getting 86 points in a single day. So if this kind of performance is coming in, I'm sure the team sitting on the 16th spot, they can also be the table toppers.
I absolutely do not doubt that, because every single one of these teams, they've got it in themselves right now. But again, since military base is absolutely nowhere close now, we always see Godsend going all the way up towards north, towards Sarki. But this time, they're playing in the exact same group where there's MyG, Los Hermanos as well. And we know how strong this team is whenever it comes to drop clashing. They've had almost 100% success rate, Shadow, and regardless of what kind of disadvantage they're put in, they always end up performing. So that's a big drop class that I'll be focusing on, because we haven't really seen God's Rain perform that good whenever it's not their favorite drop. But look at Lipovka, look at what's happening around there.
Three teams are heading all the way towards the side of Lipovka. We have got the players of TWOB, RNTX, and also the players of Team iQOO Seoul. I'm sure someone wants to claim the bounty points. Could be the players of TWOB, just like the players of God's Rain want to take advantage of the power play. And it is actually TWOB going up against the players of Team iQOO Seoul. And Pukar, that's brutal! A dagger towards Goblin.
He's got the DBS as well. He just wants to try and put a bit of a pressure onto that wound right now. Still a DP in the hands of Knuckle. Goblin down on his feet. That's going to be difficult for him to bring back up. And guess what? He is being brought back up tomorrow in the exact same venue, because he's out of this game right now. One finish already being accumulated. Now, this is not really the drop location of iQOO Seoul. They like to drop towards school. But I have no clue as to why they decided to change their own drop. Not a lot of teams were either ways dropping there.
Because they wanted to avoid those bounty points. They didn't want to give those bounty points to anyone, just in case if someone drops in towards school apartment. And look at Marcos Gaming. They're exactly there. In the process of avoiding initial drop clash, iQOO Seoul just walked into the players of TWOB.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Not back to me, but back to the similar scenario. Back as well. He's got the ace in his hands. I wasn't really a very big fan of this weapon once it came out, because I was not able to control it properly. But man, it actually packs a bit of punch. I have to say.
I'm still not a fan of that.
Yeah, I still like it.
Even the secondary weapon, Honey Badger, I'm still not a fan
I
of that.
love it. I don't care. I love Honey
You
Badger.
love all those things which I hate.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Vishu. Still got the bow and arrow out there. Someone wants to be Hawkeye. Still wants to try and maybe get a glimpse of Knuckle. Land in that bow shot. And the good thing is, the good buff is that it explodes. So at least that's one good thing. But here's the thing. If this fight comes to fruition, Revenant X Park will do the third party.
That's not iQOO Seoul. Those are 10 bounty points right in front of the players of TWOB. Let's see if they can actually get those 10 extra points. But like you said, even the players of Revenant X Park are trying to surround the entire city of Lipovka. They're just waiting for this fight to flourish, and that is when they'll try to do a third party and get those extra points in the power play itself. But seems like God's Stream, they are not going for those extra points in the power play. In fact, it is a very safe drop which they have opted for.
But the point is they did not be able to get a good amount of loot there, Shadow. Shooting range we already know is pretty less equipped with all those utilities if you're looking for 4 players. And they don't really have any other place to go for. Severny is occupied by FS. Zarki, entirely LHS territory. You try to look a little bit south towards Georgopol City. Good luck dealing with True Rippers there. And Rozok is nowhere close to you. So I'm not quite sure as to how their path will land them in the next few moments. At least towards the second or third zone, because they've got to travel a long way. The only thing that I can notice from their side is that if they take an entire northern rotation all the way towards Stolber, maybe take some things up while they're walking up in Kameshki, because they don't really like to go in the circle either ways. They want to tank the first blue, which we have seen them do multiple times when they're playing in military base. So maybe they can take their own sweet time, but still going to be risky since there's FS in their way. Now finally, it's about time to break through this deadlock.
Two bounty teams, both in the city of Lipovka. Just imagine, in a hypothetical case, TWOB eliminates both the bounty teams and they're trying to do so, but legit, the impact player of Team iQOO Soul gets a knock onto Vishu, trying to get the confirmation point, but Joker down from the side of Team iQOO Soul and 2 players, not just 2, but the entire team. Wait a second, 1 player still remaining. Bounty has not been claimed. iQOO Soul has been eliminated. It was Team RNTX who dealt with one of the players of Team iQOO Soul, but TWOB, they still have a chance on the players of RNTX, but the main problem is TWOB is wounded.
Don't really have the utilities, neither the numbers. Mac falls down as well. Picard has been taken down by that nade, down on his knees, and you know the position of Avi. This man used to play in BGMS Season 2 with a lineup of his own with Sarwar and all the other boys now in this exact same roster with Pukar and Mac, as he will fall with them too. Couldn't stand up strong as REVENANT X-Park will claim those 3 finishes in the power play. And no bounty being claimed yet right now. Likitha Esports as well trying to lock their horns against Team Arden. Oh my goodness, that's almost a superhero entry, but yeah, that's absolutely flashy one. Exo, Inferno, both of them out in the open. Inferno falls down on his knees with the rest of the members of Likitha are. That is my big question.
But where is Roman? Where are the remaining players? Likitha Esports, that is actually FS in the close proximity to the players of Godstrain all the way towards Sivorni, but we have got Likitha and Team Aryan going up against each other. Possibility of 2 fights going in. Likitha left with only 2 players. Consistency has been a problem for Likitha Esports, and it is only Smoker remaining from their side. 2 players down from the side of Team Aryan as well. Still, it's a possible 1v2, but look at the players of Orangutan. They're also lurking in the close proximity, and not just OG, also the players of Marcos Gaming.
My
4
God.
teams around this compound.
It's a carnival going out. Not a carnival of rides, but a carnival of carnage. They're still trying to maybe find an opportunity to try and break through this hold. And you know what? We and Necro, or rather all 3 of us, were eventually discussing as to how there have been many awkward fights going left, right and center. Just because the format is absolutely long, teams have eventually let themselves a bit more loose, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Maiji lost Hermanos. They're also locking horns against the members of NoNx, and there's also True Rippers right in that vicinity too, so that's a bit of a problem. As OG, they eventually lock horns with Marcos Gaming. They'll be trying to hold them down. Anonymous getting those 3 finishes from NoNx. That's a very big play, but talking back about this entire OG and Marcos Gaming fight. Aru down on his knees. Atanki still riding that buggy. Not really in the best position though. Still tries to fire shots as Nodi almost survives out there. Will he survive for long is the big question. Nox coming left, right and center as OG, they wrap around every single member of Marcos Gaming. It's like the Levi versus the Beast Titan, except there are 4 Levi's here.
OG, a good head start. 5 total finishes in the first circle. They have taken advantage of the power play, and not just OG. Seems like in this wrangle, every team wants to take advantage of the power play. Even the table toppers, RNTX, sitting on a comfortable spot. Good points accumulated, but looking at the circle, I think the players of VS, Reckoning and Meta NINZA are going to find themselves in a very decent spot. But look at where the players of Medal are. They have the entire control of the Potato Hill. And the rotating team of FS needs to be very careful from the side of Medal now.
It's a very solid spot to hold, as you mentioned. You can try and cut off a lot of those rotations, and if you're able to hold it, that's a lot of information and ground gained. FS will still be moving around. And the standoff between Adrian and Likitha still playing its cards though. A couple of members from Adrian also lost, so It's not like Smoker can't do it. He definitely can. And you can technically call it a 1v4. So already got two of the members out there. Guess the third one as well will follow the exact same route. He's got one nade now. Does not really need to go in for this fight. He just needs to place this nade properly. And that's not proper. Gives himself a handicap as Atanki fires from behind. And ruins the hopes and dreams of Smoker for pulling a 1v4. That ain't happening right now. But things are not yet over for Aryan. They destroyed OG in the previous game and the Apes are ready for a revenge.
They've got the numbers advantage and the player, Devotee, who was knocked out, is once again back on his feet, but not for a very long time as a grenade from the side of Visgod takes him down again. Now, Cyrix in a 1v4 situation. He has got the DBS and 2 grenades. Let's see if he can actually do some damage towards the side of OG. And finally, the players are pushing in. He gets one, but not the second one. Finally, Team Aryan also gets eliminated on the 12th spot. OG, they ain't stopping for anyone. The moment OG gets pushed out of top 4, that is when they pull off such a dominating performance. 8 finishes, few finishes in the power play itself, and add the impact player points as well. That's a really big jump which OG is trying to pull off.
They did the exact same thing all the way back on Friday, right? That's the main thing. Gonna have to see right now as to where the circle is now going to form. 8 finish points already, but they've got to gatekeep the members of Godstrain who are hopping in from north because, oh my goodness, the circle also favors for this exact same decision too. And mind it, Godstrain do not have the best possible utility when it comes down to their arsenal. They can sustain for one fight, yes, but if it prolongs, that's where we're going to see those problems.
The first challenge is going to be the players of Team Orangutan because they both want to have the northern control of the circle, but NoNx going up against the players of Team True Rippers. Even the last player of MyG is also in the same compound and seems like NoNx gets the better out of True Rippers. One of the players still bleeding. Asking for rescue mission, but that ain't coming. Easy confirmation, point secured, and NoNx, even they are also forced to reckon with a good game coming in from the side of NoNx. Finally, 4 finishes, no casualty. This is the kind of NoNx we want to see.
Right now, that no casualty could be changed, but Shadow eventually gets destroyed. Kalyug is able to send him all the way back. The exact same Yug where we are playing this game right now. FS being eliminated. They had almost every single thing for themselves as well. It's an off-camera pick for them. A bit of an unfortunate one. They decided to rotate from the eastern side of the Potato Hill to try and end up somewhere around the east of Pochinki too. It's a bit of a hilly area out there, but there's a lot of teams that they had to go through. They could not really hold it. My full focus is going to be between OG and God's Reign. OG are having a banger performance. God's Reign had a banger performance.
Shift your focus to OG and RNTX. Just imagine, RNTX, they have got the entire potato control, and if the circle takes a southern shift, OG will have to go for the rotation. And if RNTX actually eliminates the entirety of OG, or vice versa, OG can actually claim the bounty points. There's still a possibility they can go all the way towards the second or the third spot.
Highly possible. Because they're quite far behind if you look at it from the first points perspective, right? But it seems like they've still got to figure out the main game out here. What a spray from Atanki. The team was absolutely sleeping now. He wakes up for the first one. AKOP, he's got the player up in front of him as well. Just wants to confirm that finish. We'll be able to do that too, but they are out in the open. They've got to be careful because REVENANT X-Park is also hearing all of this commotion right now. Aru up in the open. Almost had an opportunity for that shot, but no cover being provided to him. Delta takes him down. We always remember how solid this one man was. Now he wants to save his dude. Neo up and over, but Destro will get that knock. He'll get the confirmation as well, and not one but rather two. OG are losing the members and they are saying, oh jeez, this is not the fight we should have picked up.
Still a possibility, a 2v3 situation, but the grenade is going to mark an end for the players of Orangutan. But I'm sure they've got enough points to sustain in the top 4. God's Reign, they're also trying to prepare themselves. They are on the 6th spot currently. They have got 4 finishes. If they get a chicken dinner, there is a very high chance that GDR will be in the top 4. And OG, they can be pushed outside. But I'm just talking hypothetically. God's Reign, they still have the entire northern control of the circle. Revenant X Park trying to maintain the eastern control. Medal, they are still somewhere in a good compound. And if the circle forms in this very compound, even Metal has got the strong possibility of converting a good game. Because let's be honest, the science of life has been showcased by Metal Esports recently.
It's possible that they can eventually convert this one. But if we are really talking about those points, right, that's where they're kind of lacking. But if you still want to spectate the game of what Metal is playing right now, make sure you use the multicam feature that's on Geo Hotstar. MyG lost Hermanos as well. They haven't really had the best of the best days per se to spectate all of those games. Haven't really had a proper drop clash which you could use up in the highlights. But still, they're out of the contention right now, so can't really watch that. Still got a possibility to pick one up. NoNx, Reckoning. These are the two teams I kind of want to focus on. Reckoning, they've yet to open up their bank account in terms of accumulating those points. NoNx already have 5. And slowly and steadily, they are also making their climb shadow. If this game goes big, because their position is also extremely good, right in the city, it's possible that we might see them take a pretty big leap in the standings, maybe moving away from the last page to the second page.
Considering the position where NoNx is in the leaderboard, a slow and steady approach is not going to be really helpful for them. But yes, a step in the right direction. If NoNx really want to be in the top 16 or top 10, they need a solid game. They need a big chicken dinner with too many finished points. But for now, the winners of the previous one left with only 2 players. They do have a certain height advantage, but will that be enough? Because I love the rotations which Oways and the boys always bring in. Rather than sticking to the circle, they always stick to the periphery of the circle, which is always a good approach for them. At least it is working in their favor for now, but things are not working for Hydro as he's the last man standing from the side of True Rippers. Let's see how many placement points he can get, because for now they have got 0 finishes. A solo man, I'm sure, will try to remain silent for as long as possible.
He'll get at least 1 placement point, even if he gets eliminated right now. This is not the team you'd really want to pick a fight against. It's Reckoning. It's all 4 members strong. They've cleared the entire south. So they know that they can eventually focus down on what's going to be in front of them. The circle is going to define who's gonna get what, and guess what? It's only God's Reign who'll have to make their entry inside, and Reckoning from the south, but everyone else is already inside the circle, so I'm not quite sure if we are still going to see a lot of fights.
From the looks of it, it looked like God's Reign can actually try to breach into the compounds of Metal Esports. That could be a possibility. Metal has to defend their compound, but for now, even the players of R and TX, they need to defend their compounds, because we have got the players of VS also in the nearby proximity. But since VS doesn't have the numbers advantage, it's only 2 players remaining. So I'm sure VS is not going to directly rush onto the compounds. But God's Reign can definitely try to breach into Metal's compound. Or maybe not.
I mean, this is a bold rotation that is being pulled from Destro, I'll have to say, right? Sending his boys towards the southeastern areas, which are uncharted. They're yet to traverse these lands, ripping them off of any kind of thorns that might be lingering. But there's still a gap which they can actually play around with. Oasis and Mafia find themselves in a tight spot to be surviving in. There's Revenant X Park up north of them, NoNx down south of them. Everybody knows where Victorious players are. They'll be bombarded with the utilities. Still, silence is going to be the answer for most of these teams. For about 1 minute and 30 seconds more, we will see the exact same thing. And after that, the action will continue.
Like you mentioned, kind of a stalemate situation. Everyone is just waiting for the next circle shift that is going to determine what sort of rotations are going to be there. NoNx, a good game coming in from their side. They've got 5 finishes. In fact, the circle is also favoring them. But the problem is, if the circle takes a southern-eastern shift, then NoNx, VS, R and TX, they will have to go for the rotation. And there is a possibility of a rotation clash happening during that time. But Reckoning, me and Necro were actually having a talk that how Reckoning is struggling in the overall performance and leaderboard as well. This can actually be potentially a good game if the circle takes a southern shift, because they'll be having a big advantage. But if it goes towards the eastern side, I think Medal and God's Rain can also reap the benefits out of it.
I was just about to say, right? It's only one place where the circle goes that's going to benefit Reckoning. Any other place, they're cooked. NoNx, they've got their own compounds. You can try and breach in all the way from the western fray if it takes a western shift. They'll find some compounds where they can try and survive. But then you're putting all of your eggs in that one basket, because once they would need to move out of that, that's where the problems will begin. And I'm pretty sure the circle will not end up on the same place twice. It's been taking some nasty shifts, so this one is going to be big. I'm not saying anything. At least we'll see one fight where God's Rain will have to breach in. Either from NINZA side or maybe from Middle side. And Middle is the fight that they're deciding to pick.
A silent scared is a dream come true. But for now, the players of God's Rain are not being silent. I told you God's Rain will try to breach into the compounds of Metal Esports. Aimbot already in highlighting one of the player of God's Rain, Delta. Point secured, but Aimbot also moves down in front of Destro, and Destro also confirms the point onto Aimbot. It's only 2 players remaining from the side of Godson, and make it 1 is only Destro, and a third party coming in from a single man.
Oh my
Hydro
God.
marks an end for God's Rain.
He's gonna try and maybe kick anything that's up in front of his feet, man. That is insane from True Rippers. The only point that they gain is from a third party. They are third party kings. There's a reason why I always say that. But I'm pretty sure this was not really one of the reasons. Again, Middle able to defend their entire compound. Thanks to a bit of a help coming in right now. Revenant X-Park trying to make a mad dash as well in a couple of those compounds. They're not in the circle. That's a horrible place to rack your vehicle. Not good at all. He's still going to try and be at least in the safe spot. Run away, dude. Run away. Don't want to be in the place where there's a gas can in front of you. It can blast off and blast you into smithereens. Acts as a super long range grenade.
But what's a gas can doing outside? Never mind. Venom on a very low HP. A grenade right on his face. Venom needs to patch himself up as soon as possible. And so do Trace God, because the barrage of grenades from the side of Metal Esports can do a lot of damage. But look at the amount of smokes being deployed by RNTX. Nice. They really want to take the control of those compounds which Metal has been holding on to. Termi with the grenade trying to do something. Fury on a very low HP. This can be huge, and Termi gets one onto Fury. A follow-up nade can also do a lot of damage towards the side of Trace God as well.
That Trace God, as long as he survives, he's going to try and help his team out. Fury's going to be taken down. There's no way reviving that one man. Lovely nade. Impeccable defense from Metal. Baiting the members of Revenant X-Park into thinking that maybe they're safe. And then absolutely destroying them. Now it's Hydro against the members of Reckoning. He's trying to defend his own position, but for how long will he be able to do that is the big question. It's a 2-in-2 split coming in from Reckoning, so it's not impossible for Hydro to win it. He can, and if he gets a couple of knocks, well, then it's going to be good luck for Reckoning to try and survive. 3 men now. Flock, the only guy who's remaining outside at the edge, and the circle is going to be determining which team gets the advantage.
Here's the thing, if Hydro really wants to clutch against the players of Reckoning Esports, he needs those utils. But unfortunately, he has got a single grenade and 2 smokes. Even the players of Reckoning are also not trying to push against Hydro at this point. They're just keeping an eye onto the players of Metal Esports because now the circle has gone away from the compounds of Metal Esports. They have to come out in the open now. And seems like the players of Reckoning, along with it Meta NINZA, are also just waiting for Metal Esports. But look at NoNx Esports. NoNx is feeling so comfortable, and so are the players of VS.
They're going to be super happy about it. VS, yeah, they'd eventually be pushed out up in front. Alright, welding the car, fair. It's better to fix it up before it gets blown to smithereens. Because it's going to be a mad dash to try and make up in front. Hydro, holy smokes. 3 players under his feet, and he still manages to get Flock, who was supposed to be the supporter. That is big. Middle as well now trying to make a bit of a mad dash out there, in through the smoke, through the walls, but it's Reckoning who are trying to fire a few shots onto them, and not just them. Kana is the man to get a knock instantly. Some hit markers coming in. Hydro firing onto them. They're basically getting fired upon from all the directions, and Middle are not going to survive that.
Kana, single guy, proving to be a nightmare for the players of Metal Esports, as Scout is the only man surviving out in the open. Look at the amount of smokes being deployed, and despite that, shots being fired by Kana takes down Scout. OP Metal getting elimination at the 6th spot, but I'm sure they have got enough finish points which they accumulated. But even the players of Meta NINZA left with only Beard Baba. Reckoning finally deciding to charge against Hydro. Takes him down, and with that, True Rippers also gets eliminated on the 5th spot. Now we have got the 4 teams where the numbers advantage is only with the players of NoNx Esports now.
They should be able to close this one out. I wouldn't say that it's easy, but they've first got to take care of these stranglers from VS. Nade Parade coming in, but they're not really being landed on the perfect space. A lot of them being thrown out now as Victorious will be pushed onto an awkward place. Lovely shot. Perfect one coming in. Always being taken down. But a return fire coming in from Mafia as well. The Molly's going to go out too, but not going to find anything. Another 3-pointer maybe hopping in, but it's probably going to be a stalemate scenario for the next 30 seconds or so. How many grenades does this dude have? It doesn't matter. Finally a well-placed nade from Kaliug. We'll finish all of them off, and now it falls down to just 2 teams. Reckoning or NoNx. Because Beard Baba out there is going to try and play for survival through that chaos.
You never know. I'm sure you remember what really happened with Genesis Hunters. He was the only man in the lobby and was able to pull off a winner-winner chicken dinner. Don't underestimate a single player. Even Beard Baba can do a lot of damage because NoNx and Reckoning, they have decided to go up against each other.
Who is winning?
NoNx. They've got Kana, and this guy has been on a roll. The way this guy has been ranking up those finish points for the team. For a second, it looked like he's going to take down the last player of VS as well. But seems like Kaliuk finds Beard Baba. Immediately ends him. Reckoning versus NoNx Esports. Where NoNx, they have got the numbers advantage. But Reckoning, they have got the real estate. They've got the breathing space. And Viper with a single grenade takes down not just one, maybe 2 players of NoNx. No, actually, it is only one.
Make it
a
2.
follow-up nade going in. Anonymous, still surviving, still breathing, and going for the revival.
He's got one more nade to try. He needs to place it to perfection. The cooking needs to be perfect. And he can probably get the nade with a couple of... Nah, he's not getting that. It's fine. It's alright. It was a nice attempt now, but... NoNx, they've got their man back on feet. 75% of HP gained back instantly with the first aid. Now, the boosters are going to do their trick. How many nades do they have remaining is the big question. They did utilize a lot of them. A couple of nades going in. Viper and Max pretty low in that 8 HP. Still the hard covers coming in. Holy smokes, that was so close. But Iron, the first one to fall out there as Max tries to reposition himself here and there. The floor is lava and the vehicles are burning. Kaliuk takes him down as Viper is the only man who tries to stand. Crouches down only to bow in front of NoNx. The team who was all the way on the last page bring themselves back up from the brink of defeat. Through the clutches of death, they sustain and move up on top.
Glory belongs to them. NoNx Esports, definitely a statement win. They had the circle control, they had everything lined up for them, and especially the guy Kana. It did so much for the entire team, the way he was able to deal with the players of VS, and not just VS, so many other finishes just by Kana himself. Reckoning, definitely a good game coming in from this side after a very long time, because Reckoning was also on the struggling side. But NoNx Esports, they really needed this chicken dinner.
Important indeed. We're gonna have a look at the final blow one more time, because this one fight was even more important for them. Immediately taking care of VS and then moving forward to take on the members of Reckoning. This nade parade, impeccable. I was just about to say that the position is not really the best out there, because they're going to be spammed in with the nades, and that's exactly what happened, ladies and gentlemen. A lot to talk about that previous game, but all of that is going to happen after this very short break. Don't go anywhere.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Bringing the best-in-class performance at the last game of the evening, NoNx eventually boosted themselves up finally, winning that one crucial game which was served to them in silver platter. Really looking happy, to be honest, and I would really want to see them move up on that ladder as well. And also, maybe have a sip of Bisleri water to keep themselves calm and drink that up so that they can perform in the similar manner. Now, Shadow, coming back to that previous game, Orangutan had a banger of a start.
Yeah.
Eventually, God's Reign shut them down. But Medal's defense was something that actually stole my heart.
It was actually two teams, not just Revenant X-Park, but also the players of team Godstone as well. So many finish points have been accumulated by the players of Medal Esports, and slowly and steadily, Medal's graph has been linear, not exponential, a linear graph, which is always a good way to approach a league play. But the MVP this time has to be Kaliug from the side of NoNx. For a second, it looked like Kana is going to be the MVP, but seems like Kaliug had more contribution. Finish contribution is going to be 33%.
That means imagine the number of finishes this team has. At the bare minimum 15. I'm pretty sure it's 15 or 16. We'll do the math in a while, right? Because he's also going to get, oh my goodness, Anonymous also has 5 finishes for his name. So that's a very solid performance coming in from NoNx, because it's not really just relying on the position points, but also those finish points. And I really hope they had racked up some in the power play as well, because Anonymous also gets the rescuer for the team. So entire stat sheet is being filled by the players of NoNx, and this is the kind of confidence boosting performance that they needed.
And correct me if I'm wrong, they were nowhere in the top 16 also.
Nope.
Yeah. 10 placement points, too many finish points. This is definitely going to boost the confidence for the players of NoNx Esports, but also raises up the question that if all the middle pack and the bottom teams are coming up the ladder, OG, they need to be consistent ones.
True, they have to be consistent. And you were asking as to where NoNx were, right? Before the start of the second half of yesterday, they were all the way down at the second last. And I'm pretty sure that they picked up the OnePlus devices out there, be it 13R or any other OnePlus device, to boost themselves up in that ranking, because they have been consistently performing. We're having a look at OnePlus Never Settle moments as well, because man, oh man, that early knife was absolutely nasty. TWOB as well, winning a crucial engagement.
You know, more than Goblin, I think someone else is going to be more pissed off, and that is Pukar of TWOB, because they got 3 elimination onto the players of iQOO Soul, who had bounty on their heads. It was Revenant X-Park who dealt with the last player of iQOO Soul.
They stole away that bounty at the very last second, and then eventually destroyed their hopes of having a big game out there. But one team that no one else was prepared for, that indeed was NoNx. Reckoning as well, performing pretty decent, coming second in that entire series. That's also very good. 18 finish points coming in for NoNx as we have a look at the match rankings as well. And OG, they actually move on to the second space.
And no bounty has been claimed by any of the team. Medal with total 10 points, 8 finishes. A good start for Medal Esports as well. Revenant X-Park, as compared to yesterday, it was a slow day, but they are the table toppers. 9 points, good to go. VS, a good day for them as well. In the Erangel also, the consistency was there. Total 9 points accumulated. For Reckoning, it was an important one. They have got the possession points, but not the finish points. And I don't think 8 points are enough for the players of Reckoning to propel themselves in the leaderboard.
But at least something is better than nothing, right? They were at least on the bottom end of not getting a single point, and now at least getting those 8 points. So maybe that is something where they can eye out for. Not really the top 4, but rather in at least the top 12, so that they can be directly propelled into that semi-finals. And I think so that is still pretty doable. Now, looking at the entire ranking as well, OG knocking off Soul down 223 points, equaling Hero Extreme Godlike as well. But Revenant X-Park is the team that has actually built up a 27-point lead. Genesis Esports as well, ending up on 234, second place with 2 games to spare.
iQOO Soul, they have been pushed out of top 4, but Marcos Gaming, True Rippers, they are trying to propel themselves, especially True Rippers. If you remember, at one point of time, they were on the last page of the leaderboard, and now they've made it inside the top 16. Even the players of Team Orion, they have taken a certain jump, but VS, even they were on the last page. But Global Esports, my concern are for Global Esports. They have got 3 chicken dinners, and despite that, they have not made it inside the top 4.
21 bonus points. That's where the main difference is. But I'm really happy with the performance that actually came in from 8-Bit. They were propelling themselves back up as well. NoNx just a few points away from the top 16 right now. Still on the last page, but at least they're at 130 points, right? So it's something for them to use up for the next day and maybe work all the way up, right? We've been constantly talking about how impactful all of these players have been. So let's have a look at the series of TVS Wicked players. The entire list should be packed up with AKOP, Hunters as well, but they were kept quiet today.
They most certainly were, but praise God is now on the top with 46 finishes, 22 matches, 43% finish contribution. Yesterday itself, you were praising this guy and seems like he deserves every bit of it. AKOP, 46 finishes, 22 matches, 35% finish contribution. Even Hunters is also not that far behind. Only 3 finishes less, but look at the finish contribution. Praise God and Hunters, they have got the highest finish contribution.
Because their team eventually enabled them to make those plays, and they are one of the big reasons why their team have accumulated so many points, because that individual survival is something that actually helps them. Admino as well. Admino and Hunters, they're the only 2 people who have still got 2 more games to spare, including Jonathan, Troy, Spray God. All of these players can eventually propel themselves up, but man, oh man, look at this beauty. The OG top performer who has consistently rated every match for points. Just like his team, now the wicket rides leveled up. The OG boy is riding on that TVS Raider. That's a bike you would always want to check out, Shadow. I'm pretty sure the reason why Necro is not sitting here with us right now is because he's probably checking out that bike as well and maybe ordering himself some Swiggy burgers. Don't really want to say it all out, but since we've been talking about Swiggies and burgers, let's have a look at the Swiggy Max 99 finishes out here. 32 matches in total. 19-14 total finishes, and my goodness, 19 times we've reached that 99 finish mark. Shadow, why are you scanning the QR code?
I'm not scanning. Actually, Necro is doing that. He's ordering burgers for me and himself.
Fair. Then I'm going to scan and order it just for myself out here. But since we've constantly been talking about some of the best things out there, let's have a look at the Red Bull Max Takedown Leaderboard 2. Trey Scott is going to be having the top performance again here. I really want to see a big jump up coming in from Godmino as well. 2 games to spare. He's been performing pretty decently. But Justin is a new name that actually popped up. 39 finishes for that man. So that's absolutely perfect. But since there's been a few changes happening here and there, right? Yesterday it was AKOP. Sometimes it's Hunters as well moving up. This time it's Trey Scott. So why not let's send it down and have an interview with the man himself.
भाई कुछ चीजें कॉमन है ये मुंबई से है मैं मुंबई से हूं हम दोनों एक तरीके से पड़ोसी हैं जोल थॉमस also known as Trace God now is the best finisher in BGMS season 4 और इसी के लिए Red Bull Max Takedown की कैप अब इनके सर है Trace God ask you इस स्टेज पे बहुत सारे ऐसे खिलाड़ी आए हैं who've been phenomenal AKOP हो गया Hunters हो गया आप पहली बार आए हो what is the one thing जो आपकी USP है which you think बाकियों में शायद नहीं है
देखो ऐसा है कि ना मेरी कोई गर्लफ्रेंड है
okay.
ना मेरे कोई डिस्ट्रैक्शंस है मतलब पूरा टाइम इसी पे ध्यान है 24 आवर्स पूरा इस पे ध्यान देता हूँ तो ऑब्वियसली मैं दूसरों से बेटर हूँ इस चीज़ में
ये टूर्नामेंट एक एक करके हम दिन देख रहे हैं It's probably the toughest tournament because consistency is going to be key अगर आपको next stage में progress करना है और इस tournament में ये भी देखा है कि जो टीम आज आसमान छू रही है अगले दिन वो mid हो जाती है Revenant X Park they've been consistent आज बहुत ही अच्छा दिन था What is the one key to be consistent
ये टूर्नामेंट बड़ा है तो हमें ऐसा ऊपर नहीं जाना हमें लंबा जाना है पूरा टूर्नामेंट के लिए ऑब्वियसली बेस्ट देंगे टूर्नामेंट में और हम लोग बाकियों से अलग है इसलिए हमारा नाम Revenant X Park है
AKOP के पास ये टोपी थी for a few days Hunters also ये टोपी आपके पास कितना टाइम रहने वाली है
पूरा टूर्नामेंट
hopefully पूरा टूर्नामेंट Trace God will keep this Revenant X Park might just win it we'll have to wait and watch लेकिन क्या कमाल का दिन रहा है आज Monday we are off to a banging start here on BGMS season 4 we'll see you tomorrow join us at 5 live